Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show where the big sharks play. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey, and with me, as always, is the only other man that understands that reference, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing today?
I am doing fine. I didn't have it. I thought I was going to say like something interesting there. I'm fine. This long week.
Yeah, right. This week has gone on too long. Long weekend too. A lot of shows and stuff that's happening this past weekend.
Yeah, I watched a lot of wrestling yesterday. I feel like I didn't watch anything before that this week, which is funny. It's just like it feels like it's all packed in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here on time, and this is where the big sharks play.
That's right, baby. Where the big sharks play, Ring Post Radio, the most important show in podcasting wrestling history. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, like you sort of noted.
You may have gone too far on that one.
I should have gone farther. I need to go farther is what I need to do. But I am excited for today's show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, like we've already said. We're going to be talking, of course, about Forbidden Door. That's happening next week. We're talking about Fantasticamania Mexico, CMLL, 20th anniversary of One Mystico. Stardom The Conversion, terrible name for a pay-per-view. Well, that pay-per-view did happen yesterday. We'll talk about it. You wanted to talk a little bit about the Bloodsport Bushido show with Barnett and Moxley on top. Of course, we got some big week in WWE, hot toddy of a topic in WWE this week. So we'll discuss all that and more. But if you have any questions for us or have any comments throughout the show, of course, if you're watching us live on YouTube, then leave those comments here. If you're watching us live on Twitter or X, do the same. We'll read them out. We'll pop them up on the screen. I do want to shout out up top real quickly, Scotty. Did you know that our
Muffin Man?
Yes. Number one, did you know the Muffin Man? Number two, did you know that very recently our Countout Podcast Network YouTube channel has surpassed 500 subscribers, which is an amazing accomplishment. I want to thank, obviously, Scotty. I want to thank all of our other podcasts, Ichiban Sweetcast, Your Dose of Death, Jumping Knee Pod, and even in the far back past. I want to thank everybody for supporting that. And of course, thank you all to those subscribers for subscribing, getting us over that 500 hump. I think that's a big accomplishment for a sort of smaller wrestling podcast. Whoop, my screen just went black. Oh, no, I'm back. I'm good. I don't know what just happened there. That freaked me out. I messed up the whole thing.
Your entire thing just crashed right now. We were calling it.
I was terrified.
What a sign.
I was like,
they're shutting down Ring Post Radio.
My webcam was still on, and I was like, my screen went black. I don't know what's happening. But thank you, everybody, for subscribing to the YouTube channel, getting us over that 500 hump for a niche of a podcast sort of thing. I think that's a big sort of accomplishment. So thank you, everybody, for supporting us here at the Countout Network, supporting all of our shows, and, of course, subscribing to us on YouTube. But that's all my pluggy wuggies out of the way, Scotty, up top. I think we got to talk about Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I get what you just said, pluggy wuggies, but we do have to talk about Forbidden Door.
How are you shocked that I said pluggy wuggies? You've been hosting.
I don't know. I don't
think I've ever said it on the podcast, but it also feels exactly like something I would say.
I'm trying to get into the mental capacity of a podcaster right now. It's very hard for some reason, and now I'm doing it live on air, which doesn't help. But we have to talk about Forbidden Door, which I'm going to say it. Weird card.
Weird card? I don't know. I think it's a pretty fun card. What makes it weird to you?
Well, there's too many just AEW matches. That's my start. Listen, when we're doing the learning tree versus a trio, yes.
Oh, has that been confirmed? I don't have that.
Yeah, it was confirmed yesterday. So, womp womp. That's my take on that match.
Isn't there only two? Is that one and the...
Yeah, that's too many.
Swerve, Strickland, and Ospreay? I think those are the only two. I guess you can count the TNT title match as well.
That's my point.
Well, Leo Rush's team, New Japan.
The TNT title match is all just,
Leo Rush, Team New Japan. We're in. He's in. It's fine, right? Team New Japan.
After Fightful reported he'll be wrestling in AEW more moving forward. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the rest of the stuff here. So yes, we'll talk about all this sort of stuff here on the Forbidden Door show. But like, I'm trying to think of also Forbidden Doors in the past. Like, I don't think this is a bad Forbidden Door.
No Forbidden Door shows in the past because they're all AEW talent now. You'll be confused.
It's also a fair point. I don't necessarily think that like this is a bad Forbidden Door.
I didn't say it was bad.
I know.
Weird.
Oh, I know. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. We're not getting Sonata versus Jack Perry. So that's
there's not enough Mystico, and you see that's a problem.
I can agree with that.
That is a problem. When I was told CMLL was taking part in Forbidden Door this year, who did I think of first? Mystico and Stephanie Vaquer. I got one of them, but not the other, and that's a problem.
You did get Hechicero though, which is
not. I
know it's not Mystico, but Hechicero's not a bad pick.
But he's not. He's not Mystico, buddy. He's not even close to Mystico. I've seen Hechicero lose. Mystico ain't losing. You book Mystico on Forbidden Door, you know he's winning, buddy.
You know what I would love actually, and it'd probably be like a pre-show match at this point, obviously, since that is what they're starting the book, I guess.
I can't believe that trios match isn't a pre-show match.
Is it not? I thought it would be.
I hope it is. That'd be nice.
I know like Jeff Cobb put out some sort of like, I would do like an open challenge for my title. That should be the Mystico match. Mystico versus Jeff Cobb.
Here's the problem. Mystico would have to win. So
no. Well, here's the thing. Here's the solution. There's a 15-minute time limit on these matches.
Yeah.
It goes to a draw. Nobody loses. Nobody wins. We move forward. That's how you do it. That's where you put Mystico.
That'd be weird.
It would be weird, but it's Forbidden Door. I feel like that would still work and apply. But let's go through the card here. I have to imagine with the 10 matches now announced that this is probably the full card of 10 matches. That's a pretty solid lineup, gotta say. We've had 9 before, so maybe one of these matches is on the pre-show. I don't know. But let's talk about it. Obviously, world title match: Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay for the AEW World Championship. Presumably, will be your main event. Obviously, an AEW World Title match here, but with a newly acquired former New Japan wrestler. So there's something, I guess, but not really. Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. I thought that this match, this promo segment last Wednesday, was fantastic between Ospreay and Swerve.
AEW fans didn't tune in for it. Sorry, I had to do it once. I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to say that for MJF, honestly. I'm surprised you were here.
I will. To be fair, I've had a few locked up.
Yeah. So I thought it was a great segment between the two, a great little promo battle, and it was really solid. But what took it to the next level and made it, I think, going to draw money is the making it personal sort of moment with Swerve, bringing up his kid and his wife's names. That really bump up the energy of the promo segment, and I thought was great. It made me way more excited into this world title match. It was already going to be a pretty good match, if not a great match. And I think now I'm even more invested in this match. And of course, as we sort of talked about in the previews that we've been doing kind of for this match in the past couple of weeks, where can we go with these two people? Obviously, right now it feels maybe Swerve could be the win, but hey, it's Will Ospreay. It's not going to be the bad choice to put the title on Will Ospreay.
I think for this match, I don't see Swerve losing at all. It would be if they did a rematch, obviously. Whatever. That's when you'd be like, oh, they're probably gonna switch it. My thought process on this match is very weird because in one way, I think obviously it'll be very good, but in another way, this being the main event is a choice. And I say it's a choice because, again, this is AEW and New Japan presents Forbidden Door. And this is not AEW New Japan. The past two main events have been Moxley versus Tanahashi, which very AEW versus New Japan, and Okada versus Danielson, which at the time, very AEW versus New Japan. I'm not saying that I'd put Moxley versus Naito in the main event, but it does make it difficult to, like, you know, enter a show that's about promotional and then it's just main event between AEW guys. I understand it. It's the most heated talked about match going into the show, so it's like that's what main events. But in the mindset of what the show is supposed to be, I do think they make it tough for just public perception, which has been obviously wavy up and down when it comes to these two sides, right? Like, I think that's been pretty consistent of there's a certain amount of fans that say, oh, this relationship's, very one-sided, blah, blah. This may not help. But the match itself got a lot of steam on Wednesday. I agree with you. The promo segment was very good. Kind of the steam it needed, if that makes sense. Like, obviously the match was highly talked about because it's like, oh, it's, they're putting Ospreay into the big world title match 2 months before Wembley here. But I definitely think like that was it in terms of the build. Now they kicked it into the next year. Now there's a reason to really invest if you are on the outside looking in. And I'm very intrigued to see where this ultimately goes in terms of how the match is laid out, how the match has a finish. Does Ospreay attempt the Tiger Driver that he's been
always teasing?
Right. Does he do it? My thought process is he doesn't do it, and then when he does do it, he wins the world title, which, brings the question of, will he be the wild card in the Heart tournament at this point? I mean, it's not impossible now because that match isn't happening till after Forbidden Door, so it makes you think that that's what they're waiting for.
It's certainly plausible. You messaged me on Slack how you were sort of starting to convince yourself that maybe that wild card could be Ospreay, because I think you're right. Like at the very least, the idea, the booking idea of Ospreay's probably not going to win this title match, and part of the reason, you're right, is probably going to be that he is missing that thing. Maybe he can win it through the personal nature of all these sort of things of like, this is now personal and I'm going to take you out, whatever. But I don't think as the baby face, that would work, I don't necessarily think in terms of what he's doing a baby face that'll work. I think he'll definitely consider it. I think he might even get Swerve up for it and then decide not to do it. And then Swerve, knocks out of it and turns into something else and maybe picks up the win from there. I think you're right. Like, then the logical idea would be he would then maybe have to use it to win the title. Maybe at least against Swerve.
That seems to be the story they're going for, which if that's the case, you would think the immediate rematch would be at All In. Because you're not waiting a long, because listen, I don't think anyone thinks Swerve is making it to the next All In as champion.
No, I don't think
anyone thinks that. I don't think anyone would think that. So it's like, where else would you be crowning him if that's the case? Also, maybe it's not against Swerve. Maybe the idea is just to hit the move itself. But I feel like at this point, with the way they're telling the story, it's going to have to be Swerve, which, again, very odd because there's also the Hangman Page of it all.
Yes.
It's been reported he's returning very, very soon.
There's the strong belief he's the wild card.
And rightfully so. To me, and we talked about this, I think the best story to tell with the Owen is Hangman comes back kind of as a hero, right? Because he was suspended by the Elite, so like he can be more babyface again.
Yeah, plus him just walking back in the arena is going to get
right.
He's
right. and then he can cheat to beat Brian Danielson. I think that, and then he's instantly full on heel again, right in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
In what, their fourth match? Yeah, their fourth match. They've already had 3.
Yeah.
Like, I think that works, and I actually prefer that personally, because like I don't want to run back the same match twice. Like, that's that quickly, but we'll see.
I mean, at
I
the
guess
very
that's
least,
the fun of it.
I
The
think
fun of the wild card.
I totally was also agreeing with that, and I think I think that's a good idea. And then I watched that Jeff Jarrett promo on Collision, and I said, and I ripped my shirt off and swung
Yeah, he
around.
might be. That Jeff Jarrett promo might just make Hangman a heel right off the bat.
That's what I was saying. Is that now it could be like a tweener energy, but like I see that, I'm like, yeah, let's go, Jeff Jarrett, and then we're gonna get maybe a heel Adam Page, for instance, to come out and bloody up this man.
Beat him in like seconds.
Yes.
The hot take, he beats him in like a minute.
Mm-hmm.
That means Jay White has to not win, though. Unless Jay White a babyface? People love the Bang Bang Gang, so like I don't know.
I think at best they're tweeners.
Okay, well, I guess that would work.
Yeah, I mean, because they're also feuding with the Death Triangle, who are, more babyface.
Phoenix could always win. I guess I shouldn't rule that out.
Yes, Phoenix. Well, yeah, because if Phoenix beats Jay White, then maybe you can also set up a trios title match.
Having Hangman just run through that side actually is very. I will say this: my AEW interest, my AEW fandom, has been hit hard without Hangman being around.
Mm-hmm.
And you really realize that when he's not around. Same goes for Moxley. I feel like Moxley isn't around a lot lately because he's, IWGP champion. He's here, but he's not like featured as much.
Sure.
And I think you really feel it with those two. Obviously, one of them has a big match on the show, though. So
I feel like in a lot of ways they're the heart and soul of AEW.
Yes.
And heart, and John Moxley is obviously the heart because he bleeds and bleeds a lot.
He bleeds a lot, dude.
But yeah, I sort of agree with you. I think Swerve, getting back to the match, I think Swerve is going to get the win. There's also the idea that I pitched before. This is also laid out in the comment here by Drizzy Drake. A rough week, dude. I was betting on this being
not spelled the same at all.
Obviously, I was betting on this being how Ospreay splits from Dom Finley in his match against Swerve. I laid that up previously as well. We've sort of gotten the sort of soft split on Dynamite this past Wednesday. The hard split could be this Wednesday or even at Forbidden Door. As sort of laid out.
Currently, I feel like the matches teased for Ospreay are MJF.
Mm-hmm.
A rematch for the title.
Yep.
A rematch for the title. Roosh now because of Kawasaki to Roosh. And the obvious Takeshita rematch whenever they turn on him.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like the pathway. But here's the thing. Takeshita is about to not be around for the entire All-In build. So I don't think that's the one happening.
I think you're right. And I think based on a segment this Wednesday, we'll get to the MJF tracker. But I think based on a segment, we have a good idea of what that's.
It's called Sadness for Ryan. That's what the segment's called.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think, and then Swerve gets the win, and then it's going to be who wins the Owen, and I think it's going to be between Bryan Danielson and Adam Page, and hopefully, and I think that will be an exciting match, and a fifth time between the two of them. I think there's no reason for that not to be exciting.
Though, because this time Hangman would be heel.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And then it becomes the question of Adam Page getting revenge, I guess, kind of still on Swerve versus Bryan Danielson winning the big one. And I'm hyped. I'm hyped, baby. That sounds great. That's wrestling, baby. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm into it.
Personally.
The other world title match, as you already said, the IWGP World Heavyweight title match that feels more of that vibe of AEW versus New Japan. Jon Moxley defending his title against Tetsuya Naito, who he won the title against, should be noted. I think one of the reasons also a lot of people are sort of down on this match is because I think a good amount of people see this match as Naito just winning the title back. Now that like Moxley won it off of Naito and had his little run here, Naito's just going to sort of take the title back, get that cup of coffee back from Moxley and go into the G1, obviously also going to the G1 as World Heavyweight Champion. Do you feel like that's the same sort of vibe with this match?
Yeah. Because then this would be the first time the G1 hasn't had the IWGP champion since I remember them saying the year. I can't remember it now. Either way, a long time.
Oh yeah, a long time.
I don't see anywhere where Moxley should probably win because it's a very very heavy AEW night. Danielson's probably beating Shingo, which we'll talk about. And there's there's not many New Japan matches on here. I'm looking at the card now, and I am having this realization that they are not featured as much as I thought they were. There's 3 New Japan wrestlers on this show.
Yeah, Sabre, Naito, Shingo, yes, and then obviously potentially a Jeff Cobb.
That's 4. That's it.
Yeah,
this is AEW versus not AEW versus New Japan, but it's AEW and New Japan co-promoted,
and of course, number 5, Leo Rush.
Huh. Right, of course.
Well, that maybe that's also a broader conversation which we can have is like the idea of like previously New Japan wrestlers included Will Ospreay and Okada and all these sort of things, and obviously AEW took them in part of their roster, but like the roster that was left over from New Japan that we've sort of been talking about isn't really that good right now.
But obviously, there's enough wrestlers to do like tags and stuff. Like
it's fair.
This show is missing.
We can't discount pre-show matches. We don't know the pre-show matches.
I don't count that, but sure.
I get you.
This show's missing the big tag.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Dudes of Attitudes versus Bullet Club.
Yeah, something like that. Or last year it was the BCC and Crew versus I don't remember, but it was great. All I remember was great. Right? Like that's what this show is missing for me. And that in many ways is how you get a lot of New Japan talent on the show. Like I know Shota Umino's not going to be on the show. I'm guessing Yota Tsuji is not going to be on this show unless like something dramatically changes. I don't think anyone's asking for Yu Uemura to be on this show. I don't think the House of Torture is going to be on this show. But Despy? That's what
can we get a Despy maybe?
Desperado should be on the show. He's arguably where's Hiromu?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know where he is. He's in Mexico. But where is Hiromu?
Yeah.
Why don't you do Desperado, Hiromu? Like, why don't you just throw a New Japan team together, throw a AEW team together, and just have a ball? Like that's the best kind of match sometimes on these shows. This is me being upset as I look at this. I mean, there's still time. There's still time. But when we're adding the learning tree instead, it doesn't make me happy. I cannot stress enough how much I do not want the learning tree on this show.
That's fair. This is.
You know what the worst match every pay-per-view is?
Well, for a while it was Jade. For a while, to be fair.
Well, she hasn't been around for over a year.
That's also true.
It's Jericho, so I'm not looking forward to it. Desperado, Hiromu, and I don't know, just do like Ishimori. I don't care. Like, just do the Super 3 juniors against anyone on this roster, and you probably can have a great match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting in that regard, and I think that's also if I could be a devil's advocate to the lack of New Japan roster members, if you also want to include CMLL roster members, then you have less spots, presumably, right?
I understand that, but again, there's a learning tree match of all AEW wrestlers on this show. So that is where the problem comes in.
That's fair.
I understand absolutely. There's 2 CMLL wrestlers, by the way, total on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, not enough. Like we knew with the Visa stuff, you couldn't get like the Doradas of the world and Soberano Jr. and like that's fine. I get that. But I really want Mystico on this show. I really want Desperado on this show. That's why this show's so exciting every year, right? Is the craziness.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we had like Bishamon versus who the hell was it? Like Keith Lee and Swerve or something? I forget what it was.
No,
it was crazy though.
Keith Lee and Swerve were against, I think, Kanemaru and Despy.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
I know Bishamon was against the Young Bucks on like a rampage or something. I remember that happened.
Also true. All right, let me look. Let's go through the Forbidden Door and back in time to the Forbidden Door.
Yes. But by the way, no Rocky on the show.
Last year, 0 Hour had 5 matches, so I guess that's
that's what I mean. There's certainly possibilities of adding a bunch of CMLL and Stardom and New Japan talent because we have pre-show matches last year.
My opinion, I think Stardom adds maybe 1 wrestler. New Japan probably adds like 5 this week, like out of nowhere, and CMLL maybe like 1 more. There's no way you remember any of this 0 Hour from last year. Okay. This didn't air because who was Tom Lawler supposed to face?
Adam Cole, I believe.
Yeah, so he ended up facing Serpentico in a dark match. Tough. Okay, so there are 4 matches that aired. The Mogul Embassy, Bishop Khan, Brian Cage, Swerve Strickland, Toa Leona versus Rocky Romero, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and El Desperado.
Well, okay, on a smaller scale, there's a little bit of a chaotic stuff there.
You had an Owen Hart women's match. It was Athena versus Billy Starks, which is kind of funny to think about in considering where they took that story. El Phantasmo versus Stu Grayson. What?
I don't remember that at all. Was that I think that was maybe the Canada sort of appreciation match?
And then you had an all New Japan, well, kind of New Japan match because Kyle Fletcher was signed by this point, but it was Hiromu, Shingo, and Bushi versus Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, and TJP. The buy-in the year before that was Bishamon versus The Factory.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Then you had Lance Archer versus Nick Camarado, which I'm not really sure why that was booked.
I don't remember that at all.
Keith Lee, Swerve versus Desperado and Kanemaru. They should run that back. Makes no sense, but they should run that back. And then Max Caster and the Gun Club versus Alex Coughlin, Kevin Knight, the DKC, and Yuya Uemura.
Get into it. Get into it.
I mean, I'm making a plea just to put like regular New Japan wrestlers on here. Like no offense, don't need the DKC on here.
Yeah.
Is that a hot take?
No offense to the DKC, the perennial dojo player DKC.
I'm just asking for 1 big tag. I think that's all I want.
I think you might agree with this comment. This is from Hassan Abani in the chat. I hate the quote-unquote story merchants who destroyed the feeling of Forbidden Door. I remember the first and second versions where we had wild matches. I feel like they're afraid of taking risks now.
I agree. I love story in pro wrestling. I don't give a shit about story for this show.
They go on to say, now every match got to have a year-old boring build for story. To the point of what you're saying, you just want like what they've been doing on Dynamite for the past couple weeks, an all-star, four-person, 8-man match or something.
Those are cool. Those work. It was your match of the show last year. You specifically, I remember this. Like, is that asking for too much?
No, I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. It's been these all-star matches on Dynamite have been my match of the night the past 2 weeks.
By by the way, the big one last year was a little bit better than what I said. It was Hangman Page, the Young Bucks, Eddie Kingston, Tomohiro Ishii versus Claudio, Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, Konosuke Takeshita, and Shota Umino. A little bit better than I let on. I said, "Oh, it was Blackpool Combat Club versus someone." No, it was a lot. There was a lot of talent there.
A lot of talent in there. But yeah, I agree. I'm not against having those sort of all-star matches. I'm surprised that they haven't. I mean, they could obviously still announce it. Like the whole idea of those sort of all-star matches were that like it can just you don't need any booking. You can just announce it.
Right.
So it's totally plausible that they can still do something like that. And we find out on Wednesday. It's just a matter of
crazy.
Will it happen? Any other thoughts on Moxley Naito? We really talk about it too much, but
Naito wins. Naito should win. Naito should win, and I mean, it should be a great match.
I think that's fair.
Naito in America, that's always exciting because people love him. Naito everywhere is pretty exciting when he tries.
Ladder match for the vacant AEW TNT title match. Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Scapegoat. I don't know why I said it like that. Scapegoat Jack Perry, Dante Martin, Leo Rush, and I believe it's still a TBD, right? I don't think they had something on Collision. No,
nothing yet.
Nothing on Collision. So yes, still a TBD for that last.
I don't even think they've announced who it's gonna like. I don't think they announced the match for it yet.
No, I think there'll probably be a match for that on Dynamite. Will be my guess. And maybe really it's CMLL. Maybe it's CMLL. Maybe we get a wrestler in there.
Magnus, just like they did last time.
That's fine.
In that random. Not really. It's not that fine. No.
It'd be fun. Throw in like a Volador Jr.
You should probably put someone in there that's wrestled ladder matches. Hot take, maybe.
That's probably true. As Volador Jr. feels like he's probably wrestled a ladder match. He's been around long enough. Did a bunch of Ring of Honor spots. Plausible. Well, I'll look it up. Any thoughts on the vacant TNT title match?
Jack Perry wins. That is my big take. Speaking of big take, no, I do not think Takeshita wins. Mark Briscoe winning would be very cool. That's not happening, but it would be very cool. Leo Rush is awesome. I'm just happy he's here. That's kind of my whole take on this match. I'm happy Leo Rush is here. You know, been a long time since I got to see Leo Rush consistently, and now he's doing so on Collision. And Dante Martin in a ladder match is terrifying.
Yes, the last time I feel like I saw this guy in a match, I saw his leg bend in the wrong direction.
Bend? No, that's called snapped, Ryan. It's snapped.
That's fair. Volador Jr. has been in one ladder match. Ready for this?
Hey, yeah.
2008 TNA Impact, an episode of TNA television. It was a number one contenders match for the TNA World Tag Team title. Here is who was in it. It was a multi-man. Abyss and Matt Morgan as a team.
That's crazy.
Versus Team 3D, Brother Devon and Brother Ray. Versus the Latin America Exchange, Hernandez and Homicide. Versus Volador Jr. and his tag team partner, Hiroshi Tanahashi.
That's great.
Only in TNA, folks. That's a forbidden door right there, baby. That's a forbidden door.
That is forbidden. That is definitely forbidden. Yes. Please don't look at that match and have any thoughts. Yeah, so Jack Perry's winning this. And my thought process here is, will this match be good?
I think it will be. I don't
multi-man AEW matches. It's a good toss-up. But there's a lot of great talent in this match that I feel like it should be good.
I agree. I think with the chaotic Cactus Jack-like nature of Mark Briscoe, Takeshita just gonna bully people around, throwing people around in there. Dante and Leo Rush probably flying over the speed of Leo Rush, the height of Dante Martin. Jack Perry the winner, and throw in another person. We'll figure out who that other person is, but throw in one more person. I think it's gonna be. So far, to me, it's shaping up to be a really good match.
Yeah.
All these ladder matches have to be as chaos, and I think it'll work.
They're in a ladder match 2 shows ago. Interesting. Forgot they did that. It's definitely gonna be chaotic. It's a very talented field. So my thought process at the very least is it should be really, really good.
Yeah.
It's the type of match I'd have open the show. I feel like I say this every time AEW runs a ladder match, but I'm gonna say it again. It should open the show. You can save certain other matches. Like I know you look at all those singles and you think, oh, they'll probably open with one, and I'm sure they will. But for me, I don't know. I feel like that's a great way to start the show, because it's just different from everything else you're going to get from the rest of it.
Next up, winner takes all match for both the TBS title and the New Japan Strong Women's title. Stephanie Vaquer versus Mercedes Moné. Of course, Mercedes showing up in CMLL last Friday. Stephanie Vaquer showing up in Dynamite a couple weeks ago. Maybe we'll get something more on Dynamite, but yeah, it's just going to be a match for both titles. And I fully believe that this is just going to be Moné getting the win. I doubt Stephanie Vaquer is going to win the TBS title. That would rule, but I doubt it.
This is my main event. If anyone was wondering, this is legitimately the match I'm most looking forward to. Mercedes Moné went to Arena Mexico to hype this match up. I don't see anyone else going anywhere to hype things up. That's dedication. They fought. Stephanie said, "If you're in my house, you speak Spanish, buddy." And then they fought, and it was great. It was great. Mercedes is right. Stephanie Vaquer is even better than she was the last time they faced off. The last time they faced off was also the time that a lot of people learned who the hell Stephanie Vaquer was.
Yeah.
She's only been better and better and better ever since. This is going to be great. There's no chance Stephanie wins, unfortunately. That's the one problem to this match.
Yeah.
But it's going to... I kind of hate for both belts. That hot take. I don't know if I need Mercedes winning the Strong anymore.
Sure. I'm trying to think.
I wish Stephanie kept getting, I want Stephanie to keep getting her chances, you know?
I feel like I don't know. I feel like Mercedes is going to win this no matter what. So if it was for the TBS, Mercedes wins. If it's for both, I think Mercedes wins. And
that's for sure.
But if it was just for the Strong, maybe that could add the most amount of mystery. But I think
that's my point, though. It's I could have just done with the TBS. I love Mercedes Moné. Say it all the time that she's not here. So I'm not going to be upset that she's going to have both belts. I'm just going to be upset that Stephanie does not have 3 belts anymore. That's what matters. I watched her make her entrance at Fantasticamania. I was like, this woman has more aura than every wrestler right now. Now she's going to only have 2 belts, so that's unfortunate. But it's fine. It's fine. She'll get her moment again. She's been a great Strong champion. They've packed it in with some interesting title defenses. Probably the best Strong title match, I think, was between her and Azumi. That we've seen for that title. So I think this probably one-ups it. It feels big. That's the best part about it, is that out of all the interpromotional matches, this feels the biggest. And I think that's really cool for Stephanie Vaquer. And Mercedes, absolutely should win here. And I'll be interested to see how much she defends that Strong belt outside of AEW, but based off of her trip to Arena Mexico, I'm pretty sure she wants to now wrestle in Arena Mexico. Sure feels like she does.
Yeah. I think another thing that gave away the ending to this match is Stephanie Vaquer being booked in a singles match on Fantasticamania USA and not defending the Strong title. Interesting.
Yeah, well, the other thing that gave the main thing that gave away is this is a double title match, and Mercedes Moné is not losing it immediately after she won.
I agree with your point about Mercedes wanting to wrestle in Arena Mexico, and that's not a shocker at all. And look, if Mercedes makes international appearances all over the place in Stardom, and I guess also New Japan, in CMLL, in AEW, obviously, I'm down. I'm down with that. Her one of the best women's wrestlers today, and she wrestles all over the globe. Fine, great, even better.
If that's the point of the title, if that's why we're giving it to her, I'm in. I'm 100% in.
Well, she has the TBS title, the quote unquote secondary title, right? So if she's not around, then fine, it's
Yeah.
still works out.
That's very true. I mean, going to do one show in Mexico doesn't take her away from anything yet, anyways.
Exactly. It's not going to be a huge.
And as I've seen with Mina Shirakawa, going to Japan for one thing doesn't really take her away either, because Mina Shirakawa flies back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
She just shows up for a tiny run-in, and then
No
she's
shit. What a terrible schedule for this past month.
Hey, she's working it.
Hey, I applaud her commitment.
Well, let's talk about that. The AEW Women's World Title match: Mina Shirakawa against Timeless Toni Storm, and of course Mariah May ringside for supporting both participants. That's the story here. Obviously, is the whole Mariah May of it all.
The whole Mariah May of it all.
Yes.
This match is
I think if you asked me about this match a year ago, I said I'm good, and now I'm like, all right, I can be.
You
good.
said you're good. Last year would have been more exciting. Mina just came off her incredible, she was at the top of the world, and Toni wasn't timeless.
Was she time? I thought she was timeless last year.
She wasn't timeless until after All In.
Okay, more. You
would have been way more into it last year.
What I meant more of that is last year, as in the timeless gimmick of when it was first.
I feel you. Okay,
that's more.
All right, I got you.
Now that Timeless Toni Storm has become like an actual wrestler. It's like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Here.
So the reason I give this match credit, even if I haven't necessarily loved every bit of the story, is that they did go for the story for Mariah here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, she's not wrestling in the match, but the whole focus is Mariah May now, and I think that's great.
Is it a problem that she's taking the focus away from the actual match?
Is there a problem there? Maybe a little bit.
Sort of Maxine Dupree aspect to it, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, she's obviously a lot better than Maxine Dupree. No offense.
You laugh. You have to think the acting will be better. You have to think there'll be improvements.
It's really weird for me. It's a really weird match for me because that is part of it. There's also the level to it of how they've got here, the story they've been telling, which has mostly been they're lovers, which wasn't. I don't know. I watched all of Mariah May's run in Stardom. That was never the story between these two, but fine, whatever. They're tag team partners. They're best friends. They've really done a good job at presenting Mina in other videos. They give, they've set up this introductory video with her. She even did the whatever the hell that AEW show is. Ew, is that what it's called?
Yes. Hey EW.
That's that what it's called. I thought it was literally called Hey You, which is wicked funny.
Hey you.
I never noticed it was all caps. That makes more sense. Okay. So they've done a good job doing that. And ultimately, I think this match can be very good.
Yes.
Mina's good. Tony's, like you said, working again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the good part about this. And
they work a good Joshi style.
It all depends on how much they lean on the Mariah May aspect of this. Is every minute going to be oh, help me. Oh, help me. And then it's all right. It's kind of this is very weird, but it's kind of like the Sami Zayn Chad Gable match, right? It can be a very good match, but how much are we going to lean on the outside aspect of it?
Mm-hmm.
Very weird comparison. But
no, I think it's apt. I think it's apt.
Yeah.
And I think it is one of those things that if you want to be part of the culture war of WWE versus AEW, you look at that match and you look at this match of Mina and Toni and be like, we cannot do what they just did at Clash of the Castle. Mariah May, you cannot be involved in the story of this match. You can't be involved. I'll take afterwards. That's fine. But you can't be involved. There's a good chance that she'll be involved in the finish. We can't discount that as well. So there are aspects to this where on paper, if I'm just looking at Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm, I'm this can be a really good match. But when you throw in the Mariah May of it all, it could easily turn into Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn, where the entire focus is on Maxine Dupree. Can very easily become that.
Well, I want to know. I want to ask other people because I can't ask myself because I don't have. I can't.
You don't have a mirror by you.
Is just Mina Shirakawa like fill the 2 years of no Stardom for people?
Oh,
because that was the big debate for the past 2 years, right? Especially last year because there was no Stardom. They've had pay-per-views on the same night. Blah blah blah.
Started a cold war between Rossi and TK.
Yeah, which is crazy because again, they have a cork in the day before this time. Like the scheduling is still pretty all right.
Sure.
Anyways, like, is this enough for people? Because I never like care. Like, I love Stardom, obviously. I love the roster. That like they're amazing. But like I always was like, oh, the Stardom pay-per-view. So like, oh, what do I care? But this was a conversation for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Is one wrestler and potentially like one on the pre-show enough? Does that fit what people were looking for?
I'll say for me, as maybe some comments come flooding in, I'll say for me, I do think part of it has been slowed down from the Ring of Honor appearance and Azume's appearances on Collision. I think like that ripped the sort of band-aid of like the feeling of Stardom is in AEW and it's going to be Forbidden Door, where like this year it sort of just became like, oh yeah, Stardom is going to be involved now, and it wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
but it's
kind of funny.
Yeah, I don't. It's the same sort of thing of like, well, then who else, are you gonna throw in?
Right.
You have at least the TBS title match, you have the world title match, and obviously Stephanie Valkyra as the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Otherwise, it would, if it wasn't on her, it would be on a Stardom wrestler, right?
Sure.
Or I guess Willow or something.
Well, I guess it would be on Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, that's also true. But that's eating up a quote unquote Joshi spot, I guess. And then maybe, of course, obviously, and then if that case, that would be 3, maybe, and comparable to New Japan. So I don't know. I think for me it's satisfying, but I also think that like it became like an obvious, oh, it's happening versus it has to happen here, and then when it does happen, everyone explodes because it's already kind of happened at Ring of Honor in a way.
Yeah, I get that. One of the weird things for me going into this was like, I remember last year vividly. I remember everyone like, oh, we need to get Shuri on this show. Oh, we need to get Mayu on this show, right? She's the IWGP champion at the time.
Well, let's say
even get Julia on the show. That's not happening.
Well, let's say even right now, like Mayu and like a Micah or something, right?
Right. Like get the top people. Wrestlers. Like the idea of, oh, do you want to get a Stardom wrestler on the show to actually win, like defend one of their titles? That came off terribly. But
well, to be fair, we need to get a CMLL wrestler on the show that can actually win.
That's true too. But like I was just wondering because I don't care. I watch the Stardom shows, but like I know a lot of people were very much hoping for that, and it does seem like they kind of just were fine with the.
I mean, if you also want to say it's probably a little bit of Twitter being Twitter.
Well, for sure.
Like when Twitter says,
like this is a very Twitter being Twitter situation.
It's like when Twitter says we need all women's pay-per-view, and then when a promotion does it, no one watches it. It's
Well, to be fair, it was on WA.
That's also true. Some comments in here. Eternal Epure. It's been nice seeing them give so much attention and story to the match. Also, as someone who is very defensive of Stardom from AEW, it's too much for me. I don't want AEW to take them. I think that's also from a Stardom fan perspective. I think that's also part of it. Is that now that they're involved, there's concerns.
Mentally, they've already taken Mina.
Yeah, now they showed up on a AEW. Now that they've involved, and obviously what happened with Okada and Ospreay, I think it's fair to say that a lot of Stardom fans have a little.
Oh, for sure. I think everyone that's a fan of any other promotion probably feels that way.
Jersey Drake. I like Stardom, but like if they brought like one other person than Mina, then I would have been okay. Like Momo could have had a match, and I would be cool with it, which is fine. I think Momo is like a solid pre-show wrestler.
It would probably be Azumi.
I think Azumi is up here as well.
That would make the most sense.
Colin, I don't want them to stop. I don't want them to just stop bringing Stardom wrestlers over after this match is over. I fear they might, though. Another great point. But it's that in the same vein. In the same vein, Forbidden Door season sort of allows them to same thing.
It's about to be tournament season.
Yes,
so.
We're about to enter tournament season. So unless they're showing up in the Owen, which Shingo is, but we don't have. Well, yeah, there's no Stardom wrestler.
No.
Yeah.
There's just a Serena Deeb Open challenge on Collision that like probably shouldn't be a Stardom wrestler.
It could be CMLL, I guess, as well.
Yeah, but I'm happy. Thank you for everyone that answered. I was really wondering. I didn't want to like come off bad there or anything, but I was like, how are people feeling about this now?
Just last one real quickly. Connor, Houston, I'd rather Mayu and one or two others stay away from AEW. So in the same vein of like we're talking about Stardom fans, as many people would like to see Stardom wrestlers in AEW, Stardom fans don't want their wrestlers showing up in AEW. So I think it's it's very vacuous in that sense, I guess.
I mean, my hot take, I want Mayu nowhere near this show, so I'm happy. Unless if she was on it, I would have went. But yeah, okay. Thank you, everybody. Because I feel like one was enough to make people stop talking.
Yeah. Moving right along, special singles match, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. Obviously from
who's this match for? Who's this match for?
I think it's for Zack Sabre Jr. Orange Cassidy. They had the triple threat or fatal four-way or whatever, four-way dance or whatever a couple years ago.
Last year.
And now they're having the singles match, and I don't know. This is a fun little special singles match for me, but like the story here is just they want to wrestle, I guess, and that's fine. It's gonna be a good match. There has to be story to everything, right? You're advocating for the multi-mans that don't have anything. So it doesn't necessarily have to have story. It's New Japan versus AEW.
I agree. I totally agree. I just am not a big Orange Cassidy guy. So I'm like, why is Zach facing him? Why is Zach not facing? Oh, by the way, Adam Copeland was absolutely going to have some weird match on the show. Mm-hmm. Just a random point. I don't even know. Like, we did Zack Sabre and Claudio 2 years ago, so I can't even say that. But like Zack Sabre versus Daniel Garcia would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they're building up Daniel Garcia for an eventual international title match, but you know what? You know what's pretty natural? Losing to the best technical wrestler that beat Bryan Danielson. That's a natural little thing for him. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like Darby is hurt. I think maybe kinda. I don't really know what the hell's going on with Darby.
He gets hurt every week, so
there's also this weird thing with these shows where it's like we have to keep AEW, we have to keep former New Japan talent off of these shows. Have you noticed that? It's very weird. Why don't we do Zack Sabre Jr. versus Pac?
I know why we didn't. To be fair, who's in the main event?
No, I understand Ospreay, but no Okada, no Jay White again. Mm-hmm. Jay White was kept off last year. I understand Ospreay is it, but Ospreay's a weird. Yeah, Ospreay probably doesn't care. Maybe those two do. I don't know. This match is just so random. I mean, this match is not the most random on the show. There's another one that takes the cake for that. Congratulations. Mm-hmm. But it is pretty random. It should be good, I guess. But again, it doesn't have me jumping for joy.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair, I think that's because of your sort of dislike of Orange Cassidy.
Hey, yeah, you're right.
I don't have any gripes against this match. I'm into this. It's solid match between the two. I think it's one of those matches that, Orange is a star in the company. You got to give him something on the show. So do a Zack Sabre Jr. match. I hope Zack wins.
Why don't we run Samoa Joe versus Zack? That has history.
Yeah, that would be fucking great. I think they're also trying to set this idea that Orange is like a really great technical wrestler, which like I don't like. I guess is true in terms of his style, but I don't consider him that at all
No,
to be the case.
no.
I'm looking. Look,
Oh,
we're sickos. It doesn't really matter about Orange Cassidy because you and I are more excited about him versus Hechicero. You know,
it was
we're more
very good.
excited about Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hechicero.
What?
So this is like a bonus for me.
What? Okay. All right. Hear me out here. Hear me out here. People in the chat, everyone listening, hear me out here. Why didn't you do Zack Sabre Jr. versus Roderick Strong?
Ooh.
Doesn't that just like jump off the page more of a match that makes sense?
In a way, they also built it on that All-Star match.
Thank you. My point exactly. Whatever. It's not a big deal. Zack Sabre Jr. has to win, though. I'll be very upset if he does not. He's the one being built up heading into the G1.
Mm-hmm.
He lost to Hechicero last night, by the way.
Wikipedia lists New Japan World TV title match as well. Jeff Cobb did an open challenge sort of thing, but that was also on Twitter and social media, so I don't freaking know what's going to happen with that.
Who would you have answer the open challenge?
Like I said before, I would love if it was like a CMLL guy and then you just do CMLL New Japan on this card for no freaking reason. That would be fun. If I had to pick
cool.
If I had to pick
let's be real. It's going to be AEW.
Yes, if I had to pick an AEW roster member, let's see who would be available and who's not on the shows yet, and who could be in here and have a great match with Jeff Cobb.
This show has a real lack of rock hard.
That's accurate. That's accurate.
Claudio,
that could be fun. That could be solid. Brian Cage, get real Lucha Underground energy up in here.
Anthony Ogogo.
Well, hold on.
The governor?
Maybe someone from Ring of Honor, maybe if you want to do something like that.
You want Colt Cabana.
Now we're talking maybe. Well, let's look at their Ring of Honor roster.
No. You know who it's going to be? Probably like Dustin Rhodes.
That's fine. That's a nice little match. That's a nice little match. Dustin Rhodes, that's fine, whatever. What about Daniel Garcia?
This is the roster. That's cool.
Hold on. Daniel Garcia. He's done a lot of squash matches in a weird way with not really squash matches, but short matches with bigger dudes.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's something with Jeff Cobb.
Sure.
But either way, it's got to be. The problem is also it's they're building up Daniel Garcia, so it's got to be someone that Jeff Cobb can realistically beat, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And he shouldn't beat Daniel Garcia. You know what? Let's get crazy. Let's say let's pull Shoddy Lee into this, and let's do Shoddy Lee. Why not? Fuck it. Who cares? Won't happen. Won't ever happen. Well, let's say screw it.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, I don't know. Kill switch. I don't freaking know. What do you want? What do you want from me?
What do I want? What do I want?
Let's throw in Commander. Let's get real crazy.
He can't wrestle on this show.
Why not?
You probably get like Jay Lethal. Let's be honest.
Maybe like a Shane Taylor. That's not bad. that's not exciting, but that's not bad.
This is okay. This is an AEW roster that people consider the most stacked roster ever in terms of in ring, right?
Yeah.
You hear some of the people who are pitching.
Well, Jeff Cobb has to beat them. What do you want me to do?
Jeff Cobb should be able to beat a good wrestler. Why is that against the rules in this world? I
don't disagree with you. What about Lee Moriarty? A good wrestler that can eat losses.
Lee Moriarty's a good wrestler, but he loses all the time.
He can lose against Jeff Cobb.
Yeah. Whatever.
Speaking about
there's previewed a match that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know. Let's talk about this match. Get it out of the way real quick. Trios match: Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, Big Bill, Brian Keith versus Mojo, Hook, and Katsuya Shibata. That was announced on Collision last night. Scotty.
Why? I love. And for anyone that says Shibata's the New Japan part of this, I will lose my mind. No, he is not. He hasn't been in New Japan in forever. He is not part of this.
Is Mojo the TNA part of this, or?
Yes.
I believe in Samoa Joe.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to think here without freaking out.
Sure.
Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata is a fun trio. That being said, no one needed the learning tree on this show. No one needed Chris Jericho on the show. You can't tell me people are buying tickets to this show because of this match. You can't.
Well, of course not. Well, you want the wrestle ticks? Here we go. As of
You had this ready to go, Chip.
As of June 21st, 2 days ago, so before this match got announced, Scotty, we can honestly track it from here, from this point. WrestleTix had tickets distributed at 8,674. Of course, the UBS Arena, Belmont Park, Long Island, New York. I'll see what I can find what they did last time that they were at UBS Arena, but 8,674 so far. So now from that number, we can figure out in the next update how many tickets did Chris Jericho and the Learning.
No. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about this.
And of course, Shibata is not the New Japan part of this. He's the CMLL part of this. He had 3 matches in CMLL in 2002.
Why couldn't?
Hold on. Want this match? Here we go. CMLL. This is April 12th, 2002. This is in Arena, Mexico. The 6-person match: Dr. Wagner Jr., Shocker, Giant Silva, all teaming up against Wataru Inoue. Whoa, what? Shibata, and of course, Giant Singh, which will later be known as the Great Khali in CMLL 2002. UBS Arena, let's see. They had a Dynamite here. Oh, there's no numbers for that. All right. They did 8,200 for a UBS Arena and a Dynamite. 136. This was Jeff Hardy defeats Darby Allin. That was that match for the Owen.
I am defeated right now, and you just keep throwing things at me.
What are you defeated about? I'm giving you attendance. This is a new topic.
This trios match is.
Who cares?
Broken me.
That's
the point. That's the point.
The largest number I can see for the UBS Arena. So
I could have had House of Torture on this show.
God, that's the match. The Learning Tree versus House of Torture. Holy shit, that's the match.
That would have been far more entertaining for me. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah,
I still would be complaining.
If I'm Tony Khan, I'm booking that match just to see what Twitter is. The biggest match I can see in UBS Arena that they have is their first time in UBS Arena. MJF's Long Island Homecoming is what they dubbed it. 9,800. I like how it's MJF's long. By the way, MJF's Long Island Homecoming. He was in the opener where he won. Him and Dante Martin won the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal main event. Bryan Danielson defeats John Silver. Ooh,
man, I did not miss that diamond ring.
No, that's not really a thing anymore, is it? Yeah, so I think that's the biggest number, 9,800. They are at 86. The question is, can they beat it in a week? Plausible. I think it's plausible. But
they've also need to add.
They announced pretty much all the cards, so it's who knows?
I bet it gets over if they add Mystico.
Oh, he's big in New York, Mystico. big wrestler in New York.
I'm showing up for Mystico, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I'm here.
Well, speaking of CMLL, also showing up, Hechicero in a special singles match against MJF. You talked about openers with the ladder match. Nah, I've never seen a more curtain jerker opener than MJF versus Hechicero.
I forgot this was in Long Island, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It is in Long Island. It is MJF. Hechicero is great. We all love Hechicero. He's having a great year.
Does this match make sense in terms of like styles? No. Does this match make sense in like it's very TV. Doesn't it feel like a TV match?
This is a great main event of Dynamite.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's weird. It's not bad. It's just weird. Well, it could be bad.
Yeah, it's all about how they do. I don't know. Like
the styles don't click at all.
I don't think they will. I'm afraid that they won't click. I'm afraid that MJF's work ratey WWE style and Hechicero's technical lucha style
doesn't.
I don't I don't think they will mesh.
You're with me.
Here. I'm fascinated by this match.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I don't know. It's weird. It's just a really weird match. Like when I saw the graphic, I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Why?
Like, it's a kind of match that does work well for Forbidden Door because it is like I never would have.
It's very much like the idea of Forbidden Door. Yes.
I never would have thought about this match.
No.
And the reason for that is because I didn't really think it would be an interesting match. But hey, look, it could be something. We could have an all-time 5-star classic here, Scotty.
You know what would have been really good?
What's that?
And you want to talk about TV matches? Mark Briscoe versus Hechicero. Don't ask me why.
That would be really good.
I just see it.
I see it. No, I can see it.
For the Ring of Honor World title.
Hey, we got Death Before Dishonor around the corner. Why not?
That's true. Let's start booking for the pay-per-view that they just are going to throw matches on.
There's also the whole Gates of Agony aspect to this, where like Hechicero's now aligned with them.
Yeah, that's weird too. I mean, obviously MJF's winning.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I would love for Hechicero to get the win, but we all know it's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird match. That's my take on all of it. It's a weird one, but it could be. I don't know. Can it be good?
It could. It's certainly plausible.
I can't picture it working. Like I just can't picture them in the ring together.
Can you imagine?
This feels like Sonata versus Jack Perry with two much more exciting wrestlers.
Hey, I'll take that, I guess.
In terms of like, you look at it and you're like, why? You know?
I'm just trying to do like a comp in my head. Triple H versus Ultimo Guerrero.
Oh my god.
Would that be good? I feel like that would be good.
I don't know. Triple H isn't a very good wrestler.
Well.
Oh, by the way, I did get an FMK for the show requested for you.
Oh, really?
For me to tell you. Yes.
That's a tease.
Yeah, I did. We'll save it for later, but it does involve Hechicero.
As it should. I don't know. A solid match for what Forbidden Door needs to be.
I feel real 3-star, 3.5-star type.
I think 3.5 is plausible. I think that's what it's going to be. I don't think 3. I don't think
it's 3 is like if it just like
that's
weird,
fair.
you know?
If it falls apart, then it's a 3.
How do you feel about MJF as a wrestler? After watching him wrestle again, I was like, this guy's very like he's a weird wrestler. I think a WWE work rate wrestler is exactly what he is.
Yes.
I think you nailed that.
Yes.
But he's like very plotting.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, it's because he's doing his style, which is very like he I don't know. He'll do like a high spot and then go back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird
about it than WWE style, so it's very strange. That's what I mean.
Well,
like,
yeah, but that depends where you wrestle, I guess. Like if he did it almost worked better if he I don't know. Whatever.
He's so weird.
We talked about this for an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. Last match here, men's Owen Hart Cup tournament, first round match here. Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi.
This will be the best match of the show.
This is going to be the best match of the show. Most hype for this match, probably, honestly. And if you want to go lean into the AEW of it all, this match is quote unquote for the sickos. Drag versus drag.
I can't believe they put a shirt out that said that. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
This was like the match you would want to schedule for this show going into this year, right? Mm-hmm. Probably the best in-ring wrestler on both sides in terms of just what they do, going head to head. Add in that it's the tournament to make it make sense.
Yep.
Easy money. One of my favorite matches from last year, hot take, I know, from Forbidden Door, was a Owen match. Do you remember what it was, Ryan? CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima.
Oh, yes.
That was really good. This is going to be like 10 times better. That's the thing, right?
Yeah. And that match is great. That match was great.
It was. I'm really looking forward to this. And if it's not the match of the show, it'll be a little shocking, actually, just because like what these two can do. And I'm just happy Shingo's got a singles, man. We've been working long for this one, and it's against the best possible wrestler. This match really reads, who did Bryan Danielson ask for?
Who from New Japan has he not wrestled yet that he wants to wrestle? Technically, they did wrestle like 2 decades ago, but like
very different. They're very different guys now.
Bryan Danielson, obviously, tail end of his career. Shingo, I would say, by the way, sneaky great year. I think it's like weirdly under the radar how great of a year Shingo's having right now. Obviously, that
down
Moxley
a bit
match
after the start, but yeah, he's been really good.
The Moxley match, the Hanari matches, like he's had a sneaky great year. So
matches,
him versus Danielson, fully involved in this one. I cannot wait.
This feels like your match of the year level match on this show.
Agreed.
Everyone's looking for one.
This is your Ospreay Takeshita from a couple months ago. You know, like what? this match.
I got you.
Yeah. This match is on the card and it's gonna freaking rule for no reason.
Yeah, you broke my brain for a second. I was like, what? No, I got you. Yeah. This should be great.
The alarm bell should be ringing. The 5-star classic alarm bell should be ringing, and everybody.
Yeah, this feels like it's perfect. This is why you do Forbidden Door. This match right here. It took me all of this preview to say that, but I finally said it. There's a lot of good matches on the show. I just want people like some matches absolutely send me up a wall here. I know that.
Yes,
but there's a lot of good matches on this show that I think will at least leave people happy.
I agree. I really like this show. I know at the top you said that this is a weird show, and I don't necessarily.
It is a weird show.
I don't necessarily think that's wrong. There is some weird stuff on this show, but I think there's enough in here that should be good to great that I am fully like invested into what this is.
I mean, MJF versus Tetsuya is the weirdest match I could have seen booked for this.
But it should still be good. 3.5. I'm good. I'm good on that. You know,
that feels like the max. No pun intended.
You also have to remember the crowd will be fully invested in that match if MJF.
That's true. It depends how. It just depends how they work together. It's a weird mesh. Like if you told me this match ended up being great, I'd be a little shocked. But if it was good, sure. It just depends what MJF we get.
That is fair. And obviously, we don't want this show to go on too long and have a billion interferences, which is. We'll find out, I guess. we'll find out.
Oh, this show. I think we were talking about Ring Post Radio, so we're having interference.
That would be great.
That'd be pretty cool. I don't know how that would happen.
Just Hechicera runs in. Oh.
That would be sick.
A fireball hits me out of nowhere.
5 stars.
Let's move on. We talked about this enough. We'll talk about maybe whatever more matches are announced next week. And of course, Forbidden Door, we'll have our immediate reaction following the show. So make sure if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you're not, so you get to make sure to watch our YouTube live reaction and Twitter and X as well. Live reaction to Forbidden Door when it happens next week. And of course, all of the audio that we do will be on the podcast feed. So that whenever you want to go listen to that, if you missed it live, you can watch it live or watch it recorded or audio recorded after the fact after that show. But anyways, enough about plugs. Let's talk about
enough of those plugs. Get out of here.
Let's talk about Stardom, because I know that's going to be a big thing for people. Because it did happen last.
Hendry's in our title.
Yeah. Look, I went for social media takes. We got to get the social media stuff out there.
I thought we were going, I was like, oh, we're going in order for the first time ever. We never do that. I said Joe Hendry.
Hey, he's the hottest social media guy out there.
Is he over?
Let's talk about.
Is he certifiably over?
You want to talk about Joe Hendry instead of Stardom?
No,
is that what this is?
We're going to start him. No, we're going to start him. I don't have to talk about Joe Hendry.
I can turn this car around.
No.
Talking about Joe Hendry.
We must be. We have to conversion first, and then we will get to the Hendry and the Wyatt 6.
Okay. Then
let's hear your thoughts about the Wyatt 6.
Let's talk about Stardom The Conversion. Of course, the show happening out of the Yoyogi National Gymnasium in Tokyo, Japan. 1,600 in attendance listed here on Cage Match. Main event being world Stardom title match. Micah defeats Zaina. What do you think about this match? It's bearing the lead. We're going to start off with those two, and then we'll walk back, I guess.
As my friend Dylan said, it was a very pro wrestling Noah style match.
Oh.
As in kind of nasty in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
The chops were disgusting.
There's a point where just Xena is just going chop, 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 chop.
Xena,
machine gun.
Xena showed up. Had one of the best foreigner matches Stardom's ever seen. I won't say the best because I'm not going to go through the index of many foreigner matches.
One of the foreigner matches in the past couple of years, I'll say.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, in terms also
of world title matches, I would say.
For me, in terms of in-ring, Xena's right there with Mariah. Mariah has all the charisma and stuff, so different cat, but Xena had a really good showing here. Her and Micah clicked. Micah got destroyed. That chest was disgusting. They did the spot. This had nothing to do with chops, but they did the spot on the apron where Micah was running and Xena did a power slam in the ropes. That was cool because the way they shot it, it looked really good. Mm-hmm. It was weird, but it looked really good. But yeah, I just remember a million chops, and this exceeded my expectations, which is all I can ask for. It was a weird show. You want to talk about weird shows? This was a weird show in terms of everything that they did, but we will get to that. But for a main event, good job.
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of it exceeded expectations for sure. Because I think this, if anything, this is a good stepping out party for Xena. This is okay, there's actually maybe something here with her, and we can maybe explore that now.
I watched this and I said, oh, now I'm looking forward to some of her 5-star matches. She's facing Shuri. That's interesting to me, for sure. So good for her. Sure. Way to break out. Just move on. No, we're done.
For sure. Wonder of Stardom title match. Mika Iwata defeats Sayori Anou. Obviously, there's also the elephant in the room of what the audience was in this match, which was
dead,
recovering from the match previous. So that definitely hurt it as well. But then you have, of course, Mika Iwata, Sendai Girls wrestler, defeating Sayori Anou.
I asked myself going into this match, do they hate Sayori? What the hell are they doing? Because they did the intermission right before the big faction match. And I was like, oh no. And they moved the tag match up, which was originally scheduled to go after that. So I was like, what are they doing to this woman? And then she lost. I was like, oh, maybe they do. I don't know. I'm still kind of in shock. It's a story, though. So here's the thing. Here's been my problem with the Sayori Ano run. It's very clear Natsupoi and her are supposed to have a big match. And they, for some reason, have decided let's push that off all the way to Queendom, which is insane to me.
In the meantime, Natsupoi is doing
squat diddly. AKA nothing.
Yeah. Thanks for the clarification.
Well, maybe some people heard that. What? Anyways. So this is the oddest curveball they could have thrown at me. In a way, it's good. In a way, it's still weird though. And
there's something about Mika Wada I enjoy. This is my first time seeing her, and I've said in the past that I'm not like a huge Sayori New fan. So it was like this match was pretty good for me, but like it's weird. It's weird. The crowd was dead, and so it was just
I had to watch it. I actually ended up not watching it live because I was like, I'm not watching this match after what just happened. Like I'm not doing it. So I watched it outside of that, and it was like, oh, this is good. Like this, they had a very good match, and Iwata's great. So like, I have no problem with Iwata being champion. Great wrestler, Sendai Girls World Champion, so it looks pretty good. It's just like in the moment when I saw it, I was like, what are we doing? Like this is right after the other thing, and I was like, what are we doing?
A lot of changes in Stardom happening.
My other problem is also like, and this is just a me thing. This is just me thing. We're just giving away Wonder of Stardom title reigns now. Can we give one to Azuki? Like, please. I said that a few times yesterday, and I was like, can we give her one?
Hand it to her? Like, do we have to? Or
it seems like it's only going to be like a month or two run, which is fine. It's very unstardom.
Wait, look, that's a great point that he brought up. It's unstardom, but it's also like. Okay, here. You want an insane Ryan question of the week?
Question, okay, sure. Insane.
Devil's advocate question of Ryan Knightsey. And there's a lot of Stardom fans in the chat. I could get roasted.
Yeah, roast them.
And obviously, I think this is. I read your preview from Voices of Wrestling about this.
Yeah, where I said Iwata has no chance of winning. Yeah.
You also talked about, you've been on that Nasty Point train that you thought that match was happening, and now this happened, you're like, oh, what the hell is happening now?
I'm still on that, but yeah.
In that article, you wrote that this is sort of a reset for the company. It feels like in a lot of ways for you. And I think it's very apparent when you say things like is very unstardom. When I think about that lately, what I think about is like when you say it's very unstardom. What do you in your head? What are you comparing to?
Oh, the decade plus of Rossi booking.
And I think that's the reality that we're having right now is Rossi's not booking Stardom.
Yeah, that is setting in for a lot of people in real time, myself included.
I'm gonna leave out. My question is, and I'm gonna leave out the unit split, the Queen's Quest stuff right now. But to be fair, you could argue to keep that in. But the question here is like, is this like Mika Wada thing like a bad booking idea for Stardom because it's not what Stardom typically does, and I shouldn't like it as a Stardom fan, or is it just like there's a new voice in the room who's booking things differently and obviously wants to work with Sendai Girls in some capacity? This is what Stardom is now. We talked about when Marigold and Rossi, everybody split from this, is that you're now going to have two big Joshi companies that are going to have more Joshi stories and more different things, different ideas. These are some of the different ideas. And I think a lot of hardcore Stardom fans don't want different ideas because they've been given Rossi for decades.
They've Stardom fans have settled into a specific. It's how they became fans of Stardom.
The moment like Gato stops booking New Japan, it's going to be like wildly different, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's not a bad thing for me. The Wada thing is not a bad thing at all. It's different is good, and the story, like the Natsupoi promo after this match, for me sold it because now they're telling a story between those two that is involving the title, and is Sayori going to bounce right back, or are they going to have Natsupoi do it? Like, and that's interesting to me.
Part of my question is also like the mythical, like the follow up. It's like
that
all matters as well.
The mindset of like this isn't Stardom is the idea of just giving Sayori a second Wonder of Stardom title reign. which is like that part, like Stardom history, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like the people to hold this belt twice is a very, very small list, and it's like the best of the best. So I think that's part of it. Like the way I look at it is like, oh, now we're playing with historic stuff. But like you said, it is a new booker. New things are coming.
And they're fully allowed to do this because it's their
for
company
sure.
booking it. Yeah.
For sure.
They can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter,
It's something that I think myself and other Stardom fans are gonna have to get used to. Like, this is the new way of doing things. They're not going with history for everything anymore. And whether you like it or not, that's just the reality of it. And if you're gonna have surprises like this, it works. If you're gonna have surprises like Owada winning, okay, that makes those title matches of outsiders a little bit more interesting.
Which I think is a good thing.
For sure, because if you ever pay attention to Stardom crowds during outsider matches, they do not care.
Yeah.
So that's why it's risky.
But it sets up this idea of what's happening with Mayu and Ice Ribbon, or what's happening with Micah in, was it Michinoku Pro, right? JTO, yeah, not Michinoku Pro, JTO. What's happening in those now are like, I think are more interesting because we have the title switch here.
Yeah. It is very weird that we were doing all these title matches outside of Stardom, but that's another conversation. I think you're taking away from a premium brand by doing that, but it's fine. But it's a unique twist. I have thought about it a lot, and I will talk about it more and more as time goes on. It's all about the follow-up, though.
Yeah.
That's how wrestling works. It's always about the follow-up. If this is is it effective if she just drops it in 3 weeks?
No.
Is it less effective? Right. So that's,
I mean, if she does like 12 title challenges, then maybe, but
yeah, which she definitely won. I think she's had the Sendai Girls World title since like September, and she's defended it like maybe once.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
it's very good. So
the booking of Stardom is new, and I'm wondering if it's bad because it's bad or bad because it's change. And I think, you know what I mean?
There's definitely some things that are bad because
we can talk about that in a moment.
There's a lot of stuff that happened on this show that just kind of happened. Like, instead of like, leading to it.
But
a lot of it has to do with the match before. This too, I guess.
Yeah. But to that point, like the historical nature of the booking,
right,
both exists and doesn't exist anymore.
I think the big reason a lot of people don't like this is actually not because Owada won, but because of how little Owada was featured.
That's fair.
Like that's
like an invasion sort of thing, that happens.
Yeah, but the clip they showed was her getting her ass kicked by Kairi. That was the preview video.
Fair.
It's like, okay. And they're like, now she's better.
Get hype, baby.
Like, you didn't show me her being better in a preview match. So it's like, well, whatever. This is the least of my problems.
Sure. Well, then, should we talk about the elephant in the room, or should we talk about the tag matches and the other stuff before we get to it?
Well, you can do the other stuff real quick. The other stuff's like, hey, this was good.
Opening the pre-show match, Fuking and Death defeats Rion. Who cares? Goddesses and Stardom title match.
You're a Fuking Death match.
Goddesses Stardom title match opens the show. Hazuki and Kagama defeat Stars again. Well, both Stars. Hanan and Saito. What do you think of this match?
My dog needs to shut up. That's what I think of this match. This match was really good. It's exactly what I expected it to be. Which is a good thing.
Hard hitting. Hard action.
Yeah. Hard hitting. Hazuki, Hanan, Saida, Koguma, like they just clicked. Saida's great. She's been having a great year. She's really stood out. She stood out a lot in this match. Big moment for Ryan, obviously. Ryan's been riding the wave. So as I
celebrated so hard, I threw my jacket through the ceiling this time. I didn't throw it onto the ceiling. I threw it through the ceiling.
Through the ceiling.
Uh-huh.
I will let you do it because I need to let my dog out.
Oh, interesting. Well, the thing I didn't tell Scotty before he left is that I didn't watch this match. I watched the bottom three of the card. But good. Hana and Saida getting the loss here. I think that's fine. I would love for them to get more, but they're slowly getting pushed up the card as like serious contenders, I think. And it is Hazuki and Kaguma. So I'm glad it was a great match. It looks like it was a great match to start the show. There's a singles match that I wanted to see, which I didn't get to see before we started watching, was Starlight Kid defeats Mai Sarah. I always say her name wrong. Mai Sarah, 13 minutes and 23 seconds. Starlight Kid gets the win here. Scotty, before you left, I only watched the top three of this card, so I didn't watch the two matches, even though I want to. I'm planning on it. What did you think of Starlight Kid defeating
Good high-speed title match that wasn't for the high-speed title.
Who has the high-speed title right now?
Saya Kamatani.
And where is she? Where is she?
Failing us all.
Failing us all. That's what she is.
No, this was really good.
Again, go back to American Dream and the Keystone State or whatever it was. Why did May lose? Everything she's done since then is like shit. This could all be high-speed stuff.
My God, I ask myself this every day. Why is May Sarah not high-speed champion? And then I watch a match like this. I'm like, why is May Sarah not high-speed champion? It stinks. This was good, though. First two matches were really good. I like, you and me have talked about this. This is like the mix-up to like an American card where you don't pack it all. You don't put every big match on the back end. You move them up, try to start the crowd off hot. And I think this back-to-back really did a lot of good in that case.
Which I think is like a positive change in the booking that we've noticed is that
it's the only
put stuff at the top.
It's a long time like Japanese company thing. Like, New Japan does it all the time, right? It's like, here's Young Lion match. Here's undercard match.
Here are 5 tags that don't matter.
Yeah.
That barely matter.
I like the idea of starting off hot and doing the rest. And it's like, it helps the show. It helps the overall interest. It gets people into it early. I think that's a good thing. And it benefited the show for sure. Not that it mattered because every fan in the world was taking out of it at one point, but
if I am an American viewer of Stardom and I have American viewer tendencies where it's like you put a hot match at the top, I would watch the first two. I would see that there are like 2 or 3 matches after that of tags and be like, I'll stick around and watch these. They're fairly short. I'll stick around and watch these, and I might be interested in watching these, Speaking of tag team matches, Hanako and Mino Shirakawa defeat Natsupoi and Yumi Mizumori. Any thoughts?
No.
Perfect. Reina Yagami, Saki Kashima, and Tomoyaka Inaba. Ooh, Inaba is listed as God's Eye. I didn't know that.
She's been God's Eye since like 2022, but you wouldn't know that.
I didn't know that at all. Defeat Aya Sakura, Sakia Karara, and Tamikano. These are 2 people I don't even know who these are.
They're rookies.
Oh, okay.
So absolutely broke you. Inaba was on the show to set up the title match. So
yes, against Mike. She challenged Mike after the fact, along with Natsuka Tora, right? Also challenged.
Yeah. I forgot to talk about that. I'm pretty sure she might be winning the world title, which is not great.
Time limit draw between Amisure and Shuri, who came out like looking like Kagetsu, versus Mayu Iwatani and Momo Kogo.
This was the movie match. They all dressed in the movie stuff, so that was cool.
What did Mayu dress like?
Mayu, but she wore the gear that Mayu wears in the show, that in the movie. With the actress who also wore it. So like that was the fun. The actress was ringside.
Anna Harai was also ringside.
Yeah. She even got involved. She even did the I can't think of the name, whatever. But she did do a wrestling spot. It was good. But yeah, there were Kagetsu chants. It was very cool.
Eternal Epee, Ryan, you gotta watch Aya and Karara, they're certified beasts. Scotty?
That's true. That's true. No, you're right. They are certified beasts in our world here. They're rookies, so like obviously you give them leeway, but they're pretty good.
I'll check them out. I'll check it out. All right, let's get to the main event. The main event, what people want to talk about.
Main event of this review.
Yeah. Losing unit must split. 10-man tag elimination match, of course.
No.
That's what it's listed. Okay, Josh, don't shoot me. Don't shoot the messenger.
I mean, I don't know how cage match would have listed. To be fair,
it's a complicated thing. Do you want to talk? It's very simple. Talk through the rules. It's very simple.
Oh yeah, it's very simple. So it's an elimination match, and everyone. So it's 5-on-5.
Correct.
Everyone but the last eliminated is kicked out of the faction.
Correct. So in a way, this losing unit will split, but it'll be 4 versus 1 in terms of that split.
Yes.
They're not joining the other faction. Of course, they have the option to if they so choose.
They do. Very complicated going into this.
Yeah, a very complicated story going into this. They didn't read the contract, if I recall. They didn't read the contract.
Sayaka Otani didn't read the contract. Yep. This moron.
Mm-hmm.
They've made her
in over her head.
They have made her such like I don't know how you're supposed to get behind her as a babyface after all this. She looked terrible after this.
Yeah, in a weird way, I sent you a thing on Slack of someone explaining like the idea of like, this sort of like egomaniac in over her head, egomaniac Sayaka Otani, that sort of figuring. And I'm like, I read that and it's like, yeah, but like is she the babyface? Am I supposed to root for this person? The idea is that like that person supposed. Let me see if I can actually give a proper citation. But what this person supposes is that like they're the reason that Queen's Quest effectively is going to die in this moment. It's like because they weren't paying attention, they didn't read the contract and all these sort of things, and whatever you want to say about Sayaka Otani. In overhead as like faction leader that she chose herself, signed this contract without reading it, yada yada yada. All these sort of things, and it's like walking away is like, am I supposed to root for this person? She's to blame for a lot of these things. Am I supposed to root for this person? It was from at Ari Onna ONNA on X. Becoming a false leader of Queen's Quest is what they said through her own ego. But even then, it's like you're right. It's like. Am I supposed to root for Sayaka Otani in these moments? I mean, I feel bad for her, but it's also like, well, you're at fault.
Yeah. Well, the post match was so bad for her. Like the post match to me was like, maybe she should have just turned on them at this point because this stinks. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't need to talk about the match itself.
Well, the match itself was also confusing because it's also a Momo turn. And
yeah, let's talk about that. Maybe the loudest pop the Stardom crowd has given in forever was when Momo first turned because they're like, oh my god, it like something good's happening. Did it make much sense? Whatever. I don't care about that. It was Momo potentially being babyface and them working together, and Saya's about to win and Tekla throws in the box or whatever to stop that. And like
that was great, by the way. I don't think it was Tekla. I feel like it was Ruaka maybe or something. That it
was Tekla for once.
Was it?
Usually it's Ruaka that hums that thing.
Just like I think it's like what she does the Michinoku drive or whatever. Gets the
Star. Yeah, she did the Star Crusher. She's pitting Tora and just
just great. Just the camera's perfect position. Just out of nowhere, Tekla, boom, right out of the head.
So they do all that. Crowds into it. People are into it. Oh my god, Queen's Quest's gonna live. And then Momo just turns again. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
The heel heat. The heel heat in the ring.
Like, I get the heel heat. I get it. But like Momo Watanabe is like maybe the most frustrating character in the world now. Or in the world of Stardom. Because it's just like,
well, she's evil.
Why? She is. She's definitely evil. I'll give her that. And Natsuko pins Saya, hits and it's over. And it's just oh, okay. I said this last week. I don't expect Queen's Quest to be Queen's Quest anymore. It's not. Mm-hmm. I don't care what they call it. I don't care if Sayaka Otani is rebuilding it from just her. It ain't Queen's Quest anymore. It's done. But the post-match, Ryan. Azumi, Amasaki, Lady C, and Hina all destroyed, devastated. They're out of the group. Azumi, notably, been in this group since pretty much day one when Io Shirai started this damn thing.
Green in the face about the result of this match. Wait, hold
on. Should have been the leader as is. It should not have been Saya Kamatani. Should have been at least leader eventually. She's the longest running member of this group ever. That's one of my other problems, but it's fine. We'll talk.
That could also play into the story that this person tweeted about, you know.
So Saya Kamatani gets on the mic, says like nothing, and then just leaves with the flag.
Yeah, grabs it from Azumi, I think, if not mistaken.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is this?
It's just, hey, that's her flag. She's the only member of Queen's Quest.
I understand that, but like, how am I supposed to cheer for
her? It feels strange.
I said last week I thought for sure her Azumi returning, probably her. She didn't turn, but she might as well have. The way, like, and like the problem is they can't fix this by like having them rejoin the group. That's not allowed.
Yeah.
That's not the solution. What is the solution? I don't know. But yes, Saya Kamatani didn't look good. I was like people like, oh, I feel so bad for her crying in the post match because you know she's really selling that. And then I was like, well, Saya Kamatani always cries, so like it doesn't affect me.
That's the thing, right? Is that like I think there's an element of sympathy that's supposed to be drawn for Saya Kamatani for getting the situation caused, but it is this thing of you caused this in a lot of ways. You know,
like all the sympathy I think goes to the others, the other four, not her. At least for me, it'll be again. Let's see how it turns out. But boy, oh boy, this was not. This was no. Rossi did hit a nice tweet after of, hey, you want to see Queen's Quest, conclusion? Come over here. Tommy versus Io. And it's like, that's very funny. Well timed. He said a certain group, which I found funny. He's like, I'm not tweeting it.
Yeah. He's got that TK booking Twitter energy.
Yeah, and then after God's Eye comes out, I was like, all right, they're just picking at the bones here. And then it was real. So this is the other thing.
Also, Starlight Kid comes out.
Yes. So Starlight Kid and Crazy Star come out, and they reveal they're now together. And I was like,
fine, all right, okay.
It's kind of what I was starting to expect, because why the hell is Starlight Kid not just joining Cosmic Angels at this point? And my thought process is Suzu getting hurt probably stopped them from telling the story more. Like at least in matches, because earlier in the night, she whispers to May Sarah goes over to Suzu, and then just like that, we're here. And it's like, all right, sure. That's one of my things with New Stardom. It's like this should have been, you gotta give at least an idea of this before the night of, like, whoa, we're a faction now.
Yeah, there's to also be the clear booking differences. It's like, to be fair, this guy is trying to start his own thing, and he's choosing, which I don't think is the wrong thing, but choosing not to do like a year-long story with it and just be like, okay, we just gotta.
I didn't need a year long.
Yeah, it's like we gotta pick up the pace on these things.
Like just put May Sarah and Starlight Kid in a team right now. Like beforehand. Whatever. It's fine. They asked Azumi and Miyu Amasaki to join. They're like, we're kind of sad right now, so no.
Bad time.
Not at the moment. They're obviously gonna join. And I think it speaks to, I think this is something that is very much worth thinking about moving forward. Another opportunity where Azumi is not leading.
If she's with Starlight Kid and
Starlight Kid, Suzu. She's not the two. She's not even going to be the two in that.
Yeah. No.
It's weird.
It's weird. Queen's Quest. What do you think's happening? Obviously, the flag is still being waved by. If I saw your tweet before we started correctly, the flag is still being waved for Queen's Quest over in what is it? Wave, catch the wave order. So, Saya Kamatani coming out for their sort of tournament thing with the Queen's Quest flag.
Yeah.
Is it dead? Is it going to be dead? Is it just going to be her, or is it going to be some sort of she's now going to have to find other people to join her? There's something to this idea of Stardom working with other international companies, Saya Kamatani going to catch the wave. Maybe Queen's Quest becomes sort of a inter-promotional group. Is that something? Is that
That's
fun?
like that would it's it I
You don't know how to feel about that. I see you struggling.
well, I would have just the problem is I don't know because internet like that works having like interpromotional stuff, but Saya Kamatani is gonna wrestle every show, and she's gonna need to like have someone with her, and like the only person now available to her is Ryan, the rookie. And it's like,
yes,
all right, buddy, have fun with that.
yeah. Which is why I proposed the idea of like going to other promotions.
It would be a good. I don't know if it'd be good, but it would be a different strategy that they could use. My stuff is very.
It's very interesting.
It's still marinating in my brain.
It's follow up. I like the idea in terms of a story idea that it isn't fully dissolved.
Yeah,
and it's just one person, because that does leave the door open for it to become something again. Like there is obvious story elements at play there, but it's a matter of, is that what's actually going to happen? It could easily just like die. It could easily just like next show, Sai Kamatani is like, yep, this isn't a faction anymore.
Would that, to me, I think that would somehow even make her look worse again, which
Agreed.
At this point, I don't know how much worse. Some people took this as, oh, she's such a baby face. Like she's gonna, people are so on her side. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to be on her side after this. It's her fault. But yeah, we'll see. This is gonna be a lot of conversation about this
about the conversion. Conversation about
conversion for months on months. I will give them this though. The show had stuff happen. It doesn't feel stale anymore. That I will give credit to, because Stardom felt very stale.
It felt like this was now we're finally getting into like this is my first big booking idea. Is we're going to dissolve Queen's Quest down to one person. And yes, here's an aspect. If you want to give a babyface aspect to Saya Kamatani, this is all on her fault. But now the entire weight of the faction basically is on her shoulders.
Yeah.
It's her fault, and now she has to deal with it.
Now can you give the high speed title off of her now? Like,
yeah, that is just like useless and doesn't matter.
It's so like unnecessary, but whatever. But yeah, lots to talk about. I have a lot more to talk about. I'll obviously dive in a little bit more elsewhere. But Wild World.
Do you hate it? Do you hate what happened? I see a lot of hatred online about it.
Yeah, I'm still deciding. I definitely didn't like it in the moment. I'll tell you that.
Sure.
Hated it in the moment. Now that I'm here, it's like I definitely don't like it, but I don't know if I hate it. I'm trying to figure out, where do we go? What's the direction? What makes sense? That I'm still deciding on. So I'll give an update in 3 months when they're still trying to figure it out.
Maybe we'll also do this at some point. Before we started the show, I put together what Stardom's attendance has been in a quarter 3 2023 with Rossi, quarter 1 2024, half Rossi, let's say, and then quarter 2 2024, what we're in right now, without Rossi. Number one, I've noticed that like way less shows.
Yes, that was the big thing at the end of last year. They're like, we have to change the schedule. Obviously, for anyone that doesn't know, Bushiroad's the one that makes the schedule. So way less shows is a good thing, but they were running so many to get the attendance numbers and stuff.
quarter 4, 2023, I have 35 events with listed attendance with an average of quarter 4, 579 on average. 35 events. Quarter 1, they had way more. There was like a bunch of events that didn't have attendance. It was probably like 40, 45 is really what they're close to, but I had 35 with attendance on Cage Match. In quarter 1, 2024, January to March, 31 listed events of attendance, 604 average attendance. So less events, higher average. And then quarter 2 so far, obviously being April, May, and June, 25 events with announced attendance. 669 is your average. So you have roughly 10
isn't up though.
10 events less, but the average is higher.
The average is higher. Less small venues because
you're doing less smaller shows is really
most of the attendance that I would look at to base where Stardom is Corkins and pay-per-views.
Okay, you want that number 2? Because I wrote down whenever there was a big name show like Nagoya Big Winter or Halloween Dark Night, and Korakuen Halls as well, along with Yokohama Budokans. If there was a Yokohama Budokan, I wrote that down. And quarter 4, 2023, 10. A 1, 2, 4 Korakuen Halls, Golden Fight. I wrote, I don't know if this counted, but we're going to count this now. Goddess of Stardom Tag League Night 1, Halloween Dark Night, Gold Rush, Nagoya Big Winter, and Dream Queendom. Those are the 10 things. In quarter 1 of 2024, we had 9 Yokohama Budokan, 2 Yokohama Budokan, 4 Korakuen Halls, a show in the Tokyo Dome City Hall, which I counted as well, Supreme Fight, and the Cinderella Finals are all sort of the big things there. So that 9 events. Here in quarter 2, we have 3 Korakuen Halls. So it's definitely down. They could have one more by the end of the year. I don't know if that's scheduled, but that could, end of the quarter, I should say.
One.
So then they would have 4 Korakuen Halls that match the rest of the other quarters. And then they have 1, 2, 3, 4 big shows. American Dream, the Keystone State, I counted. All-Star Grand Queendom, Flashing Champions, and the Conversion. So that matches with 2 in the last quarter, and then about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the Rossi quarter. But again, that had way more shows. So they're having... So the obvious thing here is they're having way less shows in smaller buildings. Which is bumping up the average, and because
up the average.
Because the Korakuens are the same basic number.
Yet they have one. Their last Korakuen was their second worst of the year. Second worst the past while.
Yeah, 771 was the last Korakuen I had.
Yeah, and Flashing Champions was really bad. They did good for Yoyogi.
927 at Flashing Champions. They did 930 in Korakuen Hall right before that.
Yeah, exactly.
The last bad Korakuen Hall number I have is 690 in quarter 1. I don't know exactly what the date was.
Yeah, that was they did a 2-shot, so they did like one on like a third Wednesday or something, and then that weekend they had a good number.
I think that was the Valentine's Day special.
Yeah.
And then the next event they did was Korakuen Hall in 956. So again, it's like I don't know if I'll count that, Yeah. It's the same thing with like ratings. Do we count holidays? Do you think holidays play a part in sort of like tickets or ratings going down? I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't get my MJF bid in. Fuck.
Who's to say? But yeah, that's just I think that's somewhat of interesting. Just be like, I was trying to be like, is the company business wise doing better without Rossi? And
no.
They're doing less. Well, it's like they're doing less shows, so there's less expenses, right?
Sure.
So,
but they were making the reason they did more shows was to make more money, just naturally, right? Because attendance and stuff. That has nothing to do with Rossi. That has everything to do with just the schedule. It's hard to because his last year had so many more events.
There is what I'm trying to say here is like you're right in the terms of scheduling. That's really what's affecting the financial differences. I was trying to see if like their attendance plummeted off a cliff after Rossi, or if it somehow grew. And it's like, oh no, it's kind of the same because it's really the only financial difference here is the business of it all. Bushiroad.
Overall, if you look at all the big events from this year compared to last year, it's down.
I think what would be interesting to me is seeing, especially quarter 3, after the conversion, and seeing a big booking decision change, how that affects the business in terms of now that like we're sort of settling into the number of events and stuff, how will that sort of affect that? I think can possibly lead to booking changes and booking ideas, and could that affect the attendance moving forward? Because at least for American viewers, they didn't really like the outcomes of the show. I don't have obviously I don't have any vibes on how Japan viewers have on that show.
I mean, domestic fan, I make sure to see what they're doing. They were not happy leading into that Queen's Quest match. I did not check how they were feeling after.
I can't imagine it was any better. All right. We've been going for 2 hours and we have like 4 topics left. So what are we gonna do here? We got Fantasticamania Mexico, Bloodsport Bushiroad. We can do a quick update of the MJF tracker. We can even drop that if we wanted to, but today was a big day. Dynamite was a big time for the MJF tracker.
Let's drop
Wyatt 6, Joe Hendry, and Jacob Fatu.
Let's drop Bloodsport. I think we can get through everything in less than 30 minutes.
All right. So Fantasticamania Mexico, let's do real quickly. Obviously, the main event of the show was the 20th anniversary of Mystico. We've been celebrating that all week. Mystico defeats Hiromu Takahashi in 23 minutes and 42 seconds at a basic singles match. You also had on the show Michael Oku and Zack Sabre Jr. defeat Averno and Volador Jr. in best of 2 out of 3 falls. Rocky Romero and Taiji Ishimori defeat Mascara Dorado and Templaria with a sick-ass merged mask look in a best of 2-3 falls match. Stephanie Valkyrie defeats La Catalina, a New Japan Strong Women's title match. And of course, you had other matches to open the show as well. But those are sort of the big major matches on this show. What did you think of Fantasticamania Mexico on Friday in Arena, Mexico?
Crowd was incredible, especially for the main event. That crowd was so amazing for that Mystico match. It brought, and the beauty of a Mystico match, it can be wrestled very simple, has a basic formula, but it's just like the way the crowd reacts to what he does and everything he does, and the way Hiromu was able to play to them. It made it such a great match, such a perfect anniversary match for him in many ways.
Fully agree.
The finish is maybe one of my favorite things in wrestling, though, this year. This guy takes a superplex.
Mystico.
Yeah, Mystico looks dead on the ground. Kicks out at 2, barely. Starts clapping while he's laying on the ground. Gets up, La Mystica, it's over. Incredible. I literally laughed and clapped. I was like, this is the greatest.
And also, wasn't it like, I'm trying to remember, was it Hiromu was going to do another move and then he reversed into a La Mystica, or was it just a La Mystica?
He just did his thing where he runs off the ropes and sets it up. So it was like really funny. But the match was
out of nowhere. La Mystica, you get out of nowhere, you know?
I'm right. The match was great. Hiromu was great as a heel. I haven't seen him as a heel in who knows how long. He clearly was loving it, every bit of it.
I want to heel Hiromu in New Japan.
I do too. I mean, they'll never do it because he's so over as a babyface.
Yeah, but you have Despy now. You know what I mean? Like now that
they
you have
do,
Despy,
that would be the match you can do it at least.
Yeah, now that you have a babyface Despy that you're pushing, and if you want to listen to more about that Despy talk, Ichiban Speedcast had a Despy's Big Week talking about all these Despy main events that took place, because he main evented, I think it was 4 shows in a row at the very least.
Between
the Best of Super
Dominion,
Juniors,
his show,
Super Juniors semifinals.
Oh yeah,
Minion final, the Dominion show, Despy's Invitational, and
Soul
and New Japan Soul.
Yeah, huge week for him.
So
he has the story to do it.
Yeah, babyface Despy. Let's do heel Hiromu. Why not?
Even if it's like a mini run.
I'm praying that we get some sort of change in Hiromu, because he's been the same to me forever. And if anything, him becoming a heel will force him to slow down the style, which will work because the style was slowed down with all of his injuries.
Yeah, this was perfect for him. He was so good here. And Mystico obviously is the man.
All-time legend.
Dude, he's amazing.
Is Mystico one of the best babyface clappers?
He's one of the best baby faces.
Like he just really
he's the best at it. He is the best at it.
Classic.
I don't know if anyone's better just getting the crowd into it just by like clapping. This dude's laying down dead. It's like and I'm doing it right back with him. I'm like, yep, here we go. I think Mystico is my favorite men's wrestler. I don't think it's very close. I've realized this.
You just realized this. I'm shocked.
I know everyone else is probably like, no shit. He's incredible. He's the man. All hail Mystico. I thought this and the Vaquer Catalina match were the best two of the show.
Yes,
that was very good.
One of the best La Catalina's Katrina Cortez's match I've ever seen.
She's getting better and better. I've watched her like slowly, like whether it be tags or this. She's really improving, which is big time for them because she's still very young.
Oh yeah,
she's only like 24, 25, which
she is 24. She
crazy
already had a run in WWE.
I know, which is crazy for someone that's been in and out of WWE like that.
Mm-hmm. Great babyface fire. Great.
Yeah. Her and Vaquer is like the perfect rivalry for this. This current CMLL, and Vaquer is obviously fantastic.
I thought there was great work in Romero, Ishimori, Dorado, and Templario. Yeah.
They just had the weird finish that threw me off.
Horrendous finish where he does the shooting star, right? And then he does it.
Rocky doesn't kick out,
which he shouldn't because no one's ever kicked out of the shooting star press, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Well, Mystico did.
Well, to be fair, no one should. The idea of the finish there that got screwed up supposedly is that Rocky needs to kick out of the shooting star. But you know that Rocky wants to make Mascara Dorada something. He's not going to do that, you know?
Right. It's almost like Ishimori should have broke it up. That's what
I think that's what was supposed to happen.
Yeah. And it was all a mess. And
the ref counted a 2, and then they had to change the finish.
And they like just ripped his mask off. Yeah. It was rough finish to what I thought was really good wrestling up until that point.
And Michael, who's Zack Sabre Jr., defeated Averno and Volador Jr. The story of this match was you got a little bit of friction between Oku and Zack Sabre Jr., but a lot of friction versus it pales in comparison to the friction between Volador and Jr. and Averno. 2, by the way, Mystico all-time rivals. I thought was a nice little spot here. And I saw Lucha Blog talk about how a commentator right after this match talked about how the anniversary shows around the corner, so it feels like Averno Volador Jr. could be something down the line.
I can't wait for that show. Next week, Elias Jr. versus Kyle Fletcher live from Arena Mexico.
Yeah,
and Elias Jr. should win.
I would love if Elias Jr. won. I also love Kyle Fletcher, so it's a tough thing for me. But I would love if Elias Jr. won that. They also have
you'll get through it.
They also have a lot of other fun stuff coming around the corner. Obviously, last night they also had Mystico and Taiji Ishimori versus Roman Takahashi and Volador Jr. plus Hechicero versus Zack Sabre Jr., which I think is a real good spot. Plus also Rocky Romero versus Angel de Oro, which I think is not too bad. They also around the corner as well have, and I don't necessarily love Tornado Ciberneticos, but have you seen the lineup for this? I believe it's Monday is doing a Cybernetico.
Yeah, it's insane.
Oh, why?
It's Mystico, Volador Jr., Templario, Dorada, Rocky Romero, Neon, Dark Magic, Star Jr., Okamura, Taiji Ishimori, Teton, Flip Gordon, Zack Sabre Jr., and Hiromu Takahashi.
Yes, baby. That's
insane.
That's a great group of guys right there.
That's insane. I will be watching.
And then
will it be good? I don't know.
Today, I'm looking at the card for today. Mystico, Mascara Dorada versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Magnus. Plus Hiromu Takahashi, Magia Blanca, and Rugio versus Taiji Ishimori, El Hijo, Del Villano 3 and Villano 3 Jr., Rocky Romero versus Averno.
This is when I tell you the show doesn't on air.
Disappointment. Disappointment. But nonetheless, like CMLL, firing on all cylinders. We're talking about them on the show versus Triple Mania, not even doing as a bit. I'm like, screw that show.
No, it's not even real. CMLL so good right now. They've been so good for a year and a half in a row. And I don't see them slowing down.
I don't think this was like a necessarily great show, like in terms
of they've had better
quality.
Shows this year.
They've had better shows. The BCC CMLL show I thought was top down great show. This was a fun show. I watched this whole thing. This was an incredibly fun show, top to bottom.
Yeah, and like the next 3 months, they have the Grand Prix as well coming up. They have, and then obviously the anniversary show, which is going to be one of the best shows of the year. So lots to look forward to, lots to be excited about. I'm just really invested. I'm trying to see as much as I can of CMLL right now, which is great. They're just fantastic. If we talked about it maybe off air last week, but like if you're looking at promotions of the year right now, it's a very short list, and CML is like comfortably at the top.
I don't think their year so far has as big of a height as last year to this point, but they are still like I would say last year they had a great year. This right now, I'm saying they're consistently having a really good year. Like they're not great. I would describe as great, but they're so far like, yeah, they've had a really solid, good year compared to all these other promotions, which are like up and down, or they're not what I'm into. Or
they're probably they're the most consistent this year.
Agreed. That's kind of what I'm driving at. Is they've been incredibly consistent.
I think they're more consistent than they were last year. For me, last year it was a lot of like the Fantasticamania that I mostly saw. I'm seeing way more this year.
Yeah, that's fair.
And like that, the Blackpool Combat Club show is gigantic. Like that's the biggest show of that might be my show of the year so far.
I think that's up there. Mavs fan in the chat who also said Mystico and Hiromu fucking ruled. You think we get any AEW guys in the CMLL Grand Prix?
I could definitely see one or two for sure. No reason not to have any.
Why not?
That's the point of the Grand Prix. It's like you bring all these international into one big match. And I think the men's one could be a lot better this year than it usually is.
Yeah. I think
all that they have going.
They're not going to they could have Rocky, but I also think that they're probably not.
Rocky was in it last year.
Yeah, but this time around where he's like now also working for AEW, I don't necessarily know if he would do it now in terms of time. He could.
He works with them all the time. So.
I know.
The Grand Prix is one match, isn't it?
I thought it was a whole thing.
Hold on.
CMLL Grand Prix.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know what you're thinking of. Are you thinking of the Sword? Is that no, that's Sword.
I'm thinking of the Grand Prix International. Yeah, it's one big Cybernetico.
Yeah.
So it's one match. Yeah, you could do that. Last year it was. You ready for this? Last year was Angel Del Oro, Averno, Dragon Rojo. What the hell happened to that guy? Dragon Rojo Jr.
I don't know. He's disappeared. He lost his mask and he's gone.
Mascara Dorada, Mystico, Templario, and Ultimo Guerrero, and Volador Jr. So super team there, obviously. And obviously Mystico won. Against Team International, Adrian Quest, Balian Aki, Francesco Akira, Hiromu Takahashi, Kushida, Rocky Ramiro, Sarah De Sol, and TJP. I think it could be even better this year.
Yeah. I think that's totally plausible. I'm just looking up.
Then they have the women. They have a men's one and a women's one, back-to-back weeks, I think.
Yes.
No. Sorry. The women's one comes at the end of the year in October, and the men's one comes in August. So,
don't they have a multi-night tournament sort of show? I don't think
they did earlier this year, tag team wise.
Yeah, the family.
Oh, they had the one that ended up being for the triple threat. Remember when Dorada beat Mystico?
Yes, I thought they had something like that. But yeah, I think CML Grand Prix, why not throw in some sort of AEW person? Throw in Wheeler Yuta. Get him in Arena Mexico.
I forgot he was supposed to be there. Give me Matt. Oh, wait, Matt Seidel got surgery. Never mind.
Yeah. MJF Tracker, real quick update. Where we left off with that is that
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Is MJF had a match where he defeated Roosh. He then got challenged by Hechicero and then made a save, I believe, on Danny Garcia, and then had face-to-face against Will Ospreay.
Gave you a heart attack.
Yeah, the fear of, oh God, this is the Wembley match. MJF versus Will Ospreay.
Big time.
I think a lot of it was more wrestling based. I mean,
sure.
All over the show. Maybe
did I like it? But is it more wrestling? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. He did have the highest quarter hour, but it was the first. So, who cares? It always is the first.
The first, and no one watched. So I'm sorry.
I do think he had more wrestling this week than sports entertainment. I mean, he was all over the show and he set up.
Yeah, for sure. Stuff. He gets leveled up. Congratulations, MJF.
Good on MJF. Good on MJF there.
So Ryan, let me ask you.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about the Wyatt 6?
Fucking dumb.
Oh my God. Oh, we were naked for a second there. That was terrifying.
Yeah. No, the Wyatt 6. So yeah, big week of WWE debuts. We're ending this show.
Chad Gable died.
Chad Gable died. They took him out. Okay, so Chad Gable got shot in the head. They took him out of the Money in the Bank qualifying match.
He didn't get shot in the head. That's what I'm told. He didn't actually get shot in the head.
And then Adam Pearce is like, yeah, for anyone that thought that he would be taken out of the tournament, even though he already was out of the Money in the Bank qualifying match, we're putting him back in for all those dorks that thought, I forget what he used the word dorks, dweebs or something like that.
Yeah.
That was like, who thought he was dead or something like that. It's like, what do you think I thought he was? I saw his body. I saw the blood spot. That's a gunshot exit wound.
How am I not supposed to think he's dead?
I took forensics in college on a lark. I know what it looks like. Yeah.
God.
The Wyatt 6-6 is out. They're back. They're finally here. I'm glad that they're finally here. Just so I can stop seeing month after month after month of lore updates about them.
Okay, here's my hot take. You know why I think the Wyatt 6 is hilarious to me?
Why is that?
Because it bothers so many people that don't watch WWE, and I think that's awesome. Yourself included. Because I don't care.
Sure.
I really do.
Why should I care? That's a great point. Why should I care about this?
Right. Like, here's my take on it. And maybe people will disagree with me. That's fine. It's just Bo respecting his brother. I don't why am I looking through it much more than that? I don't care. Good for them. Good for him. Right? Like, that's how I look at it. Yeah. Is it it's the hot take of the week of just being like, good for Bo.
No, I do agree with that take. I do agree with the idea of, I like the idea of continuing his brother's dream and doing all this sort of stuff and making that a reality.
Just don't kill people.
Just don't kill people. It's one of those things of like Triple H, since taking over the reins, Paul Levesque era, since taking over the reins, he sort of
new era
has sort of recontextualized WWE a little bit in terms of booking, making it more realistic and making it more sports oriented. And then this happens, and I'm just sort of like, well, now where do we go? Now where do we go from here?
Yeah. No, that's fair. It's very fair. Like, I think anyone that asked that question is fair. I thought maybe this is a hot take. I thought the reveal was like, oh, this is cool for like a one-off type thing. I think they would benefit.
What does Monday look like now? You know what I mean?
Right.
What does Monday look like?
I think they would benefit greatly from Bo just being Bo. And when I say Bo just being Bo, I mean not going by Uncle Howdy.
That's also a great point. Are we going to get the children's TV show, the Firefly Funhouse, back with all 5 of these people as the puppets or whatever?
Like, there is this, I don't know where they're going with this. There is the concern of like, no matter how you felt about Bray Wyatt's content, he was very charismatic, and that's why it worked for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Bo in a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and they're obviously not going for like the sob story with Bo. Which is good. You shouldn't like let Bo do what he wants to do to respect Bray. But I don't think he could do like the Firefly Funhouse, you know?
Yeah.
But he's also in a mask and named Uncle Howdy. So
can you imagine Dexter Loomis doing the Firefly Funhouse gimmick?
that actually might be very entertaining in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is so bad, it's good type thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of all of Dexter Loomis, like his original run.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this stinks, but I'm laughing.
Yeah. I guess there's something to it. That
like when he brought a knife to his wedding.
I forgot. He has done a lot of comedy stuff in NXT. So there is something to it. Bo Dallas
like
obviously has also done comedy. Nikki Cross. Has Nikki Cross done comedy?
She was a superhero. So yeah.
Good point. I
don't think they're going for comedy. Clearly, they killed people. But we've already put too much thought into it.
Yeah. My whole concern with it, as someone who cares about the wrestling of it all, is just like you recontextualize your world to be more sports oriented, and now you've introduced this. It's like, well, now what is this going to look like?
The concern of the supernatural does live on. I know the report says it's not going to be.
And then I saw Chad Gable die, and he's back in a match this on Monday.
He didn't die, I'm told.
Apparently, I'm told he didn't.
He looked dead to me.
He looked pretty dead to me. I gotta say, he looked pretty dead to me. I love the idea that Chad Gable signed a new contract in Scotland and then went back on Monday and got shot in the head by Dexter Loomis. by a fucking vulture in a Hawaiian shirt. It's like, man, dude, Ricochet got out early. He got out clean. They could have killed off Ricochet for real. This could have been Ricochet.
They should have.
This should have been Ricochet.
They could have actually killed Ricochet. I mean, Braun Breaker did a pretty good job at it. But man, they could have just it's really weird seeing this. You're right. It's really weird seeing this in the current WWE because it's changed so much.
Yeah.
But again,
presentation, yeah.
I'm not invested enough to like really have a worry about it. Like, good for Bo, good for everyone that wants to pay respect to him. But there's 5 of them. Why is it called the Wyatt 6?
I believe the lore is that the lantern is Bray Wyatt's soul.
Oh, Bray's the 6. Okay, that's cool then. That's fine.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I also like the other idea that the Wyatt 6, the 5 members here, one of them is an NXT call up. One of them is a former superhero, and the other 3 have been previously fired by the company.
I forgot Dexter Loomis was let go.
Yeah, the most successful person in this group is arguably Nikki Cross,
former WWE Raw Women's Champion.
Yeah, Rowan is also up there as a tag team champion.
Bo was a tag team. Bo was NXT champion.
Oh, good
buddy.
Got me there.
I used to love Bo Dallas. So you listen, okay? Shouts out to Bo. Put some respect on Bo's name. I will say this: the most interesting thing will be when they cut their first promo, or when Bo cuts his first. I think he's going to be the one that speaks because he spoke in the little thing. I don't know. I've already put too much thought. I put more thought into this right now than I did the rest of this week.
And then the next day on NXT, you had Joe Hendry show up from TNA and NXT unannounced. Showed up. Big pop from the crowd. And then came into the Battle Royal, got eliminated first by Frankie Kazarian, who went on to the Final 4 at the very least, if I recall.
Were TNA fans they're going to be happy about that, right?
Oh, TNA fans were stoked, and the classic WWE shills were all over this one. There were people, media members, I think it was Raj Giri specifically, said that Joe Hendry is a rated demo god because the NXT had a good rating, good demo.
It did have a good rating.
First of all, Joe Hendry wasn't even announced. So who? And then he was on screen for like a couple of minutes, 5 minutes maybe. And also, his quarter hour went down. Less people watched him on screen than before. So it's like, what are we talking about here? But it doesn't. The reason I bring up Joe Hendry is that I'm not a big Joe Hendry guy. I've never been a big Joe Hendry guy.
Openly hated Joe Hendry.
I openly hate Joe Hendry. I do not believe in Joe Hendry. But it feels like all of a sudden, everyone online on social media believes in Joe Hendry. It just feels very differently. No one's watching TNA to see Joe Hendry, but people really believe in Joe Hendry.
So, funny story regarding Joe Hendry. My friend texted me like a month ago, right? He's the one that I'll watch AEW shows with from time to time.
Sure.
Otherwise, he doesn't really follow anything. He just follows like AEW through the pay-per-views, and he'll like follow WWE via Twitter or whatever. But somehow he came across Joe Hendry when the song went crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, "How have you not told me about Joe Hendry? This is my guy." And I go to him because he's really bad at wrestling.
What I messaged you is that I'm glad NXT has discovered their first meme wrestler.
Oh yeah.
Because not I don't like Joe Hendry, but not to offend the guy, but like that's what he is. He's a meme, right? Like that is the gimmick, is him doing the song.
He was a meme wrestler.
Orange Cassidy's a meme wrestler, but Orange Cassidy can at least wrestle. Like the next thing that will happen is Danhausen shows up in NXT and everyone's gonna blow a gasket and social media is gonna go crazy, and Raj Giri is gonna say that Danhausen's a demo god in NXT.
I don't know. This isn't a hot take. This isn't even a take. But here's my thought on it. What the hell is TNA doing? Why are they not like putting the world title on this guy? Like
they put Ace Steel with him.
Right. They put Ace Steel with him and they made him lose to Frankie Kazarian. Like, I don't know. Hot take, maybe. He can't be worse than Moose. No one cares about TNA right
He's
now.
at least over. Well, that's the problem, right? And I bring up his demo also going down, but he was also unannounced, so I'm not even going to completely attribute that to him as well. But like, he's at least over on social media. There isn't proof really of how much of an actual financial money draw that he could be.
How much money has he made on his song?
Yeah, he's at least over on social media. So maybe just put a title on Joe Hendry and see if that does something.
Oh, perhaps the Digital Media Championship once again. Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about renewing the rivalry between AJ Francis and Joe Hendry. That's what I want.
That feels very TNA.
It was TNA. They did it. They just did it.
Just redo it. When he gets hot, just let's do it again.
Yeah.
You don't believe in Joe Hendry. WWE fans do believe in Joe Hendry. Do you believe?
I've never seen Joe Hendry. Now believe in Joe
Real
Hendry.
Question, because I have my answer. Do you believe in Jacob Fatu? Because I sure do.
The most successful debut, I think, this week is Jacob Fatu. I think the Wyatt Six was obviously successful in a completely different way, but Jacob Fatu coming out and destroying Cody Rhodes. I mean, undoubtedly, this. We talked about in the preview, and because we didn't know that Jacob Fatu was coming in, that like it felt like Money in the Bank is Solo Sikoa, and then they did the match on SmackDown, and I was like, okay, then maybe this isn't the match. Jacob Fatu versus Cody Rhodes and Money in the Bank. Inject into my veins.
He is. We talked about this like 2 years ago when we started this show. When we were talking about like a guy AEW should sign that's different from everyone. We said Jacob Fatu.
Yes.
I still feel that way. Like I understand the bloodline stuff. Give him the opening.
Yes.
He should have been signed forever ago.
And you know me, Scotty. I don't love anymore really athletic big men. High flying big man. However, Jacob Fatu is the only exception because that guy can go. And at this point, he's not even a big man anymore. He's slimmed down significantly.
Yeah, and like he's not tall.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I watched his debut and I was like, he still rocks.
Yeah. He rules.
He's incredible. He looked like $1 million. He jumped when he did the jump from the top rope to the announce table, I was like, there's no way this man can do this. And then he squashed Cody. I was like, I was wrong.
He brings a level of intensity that group needs a lot right now, and it will just shoot him up the card immediately.
When they did the pose, I saw them do the pose. I was like, man, Solo Sikoa looks like a bitch.
I remember those reports about like why he never showed up. Is that like WWE was apparently concerned that debuting Jacob Fatu would make Solo Sikoa look bad?
They were right. They nailed it.
It turns out they were right.
Because Cody versus Jacob Fatu feels like money.
Yeah. Which, by the way, in hindsight, that review could also be that report could also be accurate. Do you think there's any chance? We know previous WWE. Is there any chance WWE told him to slim down?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
The reason he hasn't shown up is because they put him on the payroll, but his job was to slim down significantly.
I do believe the idea that we have 1 million international shows and he can't do them is probably it. But
that's also true. I did pitch him in Toronto, I believe it is, for Money in the Bank. So we'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. That's the one problem for him right now is they run a lot of international shows. But SummerSlam's in the U.S., baby.
Yeah, but is Jacob Fatu the hot match you do against Cody? I guess maybe.
For me, maybe. I don't know. I don't care about anyone else.
It's either that or Randy. Which one do you want? Fatu or Randy?
Well, if it's Solo Sikoa, I'll take anything else. If it's between those two,
I mean,
I don't think they have enough time to tell the Randy story.
Yeah,
because they have another pay-per-view in like 2 weeks. They have a lot of show. What the hell happened? What is this pay-per-view schedule? Money in the Bank's in 2 weeks.
That's real soon. Yeah, it's got to be Jacob Fatu then, right? Gotta be. But then is the
Fatu, or are they going to do a big tag? Maybe do a big tag.
Maybe.
Randy, Kevin, Cody, and someone else.
On next week's show, we're previewing Money in the Bank.
Alrighty then.
All right. Well, that's it for the show.
Bye.
That's Regross Radio. Hold on, we got a lot of plugs. I know you're going to hit me with an FMK, and
oh yeah, a requested one at that.
Match of the week. Let's get some plugs out of the way first. Scotty, floor is yours. Where can people find you, and what plugs do you have?
You can find me right here every Sunday morning, right here on Ring Post Radio on the YouTube channel, on Twitter. Follow me at Scotty Wrestling on Twitter. Stardom Road will be out this week. We're talking the history of Queen's Quest, starting with the Io Shirai.
A timely episode.
Talking about the Io Shirai reign of it all. So the beginning plus Io's run until she gave it up to Momo Watanabe. Then that's a 3-parter. The next one will be Momo, and then after that will be Utami in the end. So you check that out anywhere you get your podcast. That will also be up on YouTube if you want to watch the video. Always available. What else? You check out if you want to hear more about my Stardom thoughts. 5-Star Joe show every week. That'll be a lot to talk about this week. I talked about a lot here. Talk about even more there. That's it for plugs.
You said match of the week?
Oh, no, I did not. My match of the week that we didn't talk about.
Yeah, we talked about a lot.
We did. I got one. From Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yes.
Limit Break 3. Go. Ooh. Go Shiozaki and Jun Akiyama versus Naomichi Marufuji and Takashi Sugiura. The anniversary match of Mr. Go.
That was they did like a 30-minute draw, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah. Bunch of 4 old men wrestling for 30 minutes.
And never dragged or anything?
No. I think Go destroyed himself in it. I mean, he's fine. Obviously, he's wrestling. But And every time he puts back on the pants, I'm like, oh no, he's gonna get hurt again. Because like he's been healthy for a while now, ever since he just went back, went to the trunks and stuff. Does it happen? Like, does that have anything to do with it? Probably not. But am I gonna act like it until he gets hurt again? But that was really good. I really love Segura, so
Me too.
it's nice to see him in big matches. Cool to see Jun Akiyama in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just really good 30 minutes, and the crowd was hot.
Those limit breaks are pretty good. Noah's
good.
Promotion. We'll have a lot
promotion of the year. Pro Wrestling Noah.
But we haven't really had the time. We've considered doing like a mid-year sort of topic.
We almost dropped Noah.
We almost dropped Noah too. Yeah,
that was the plan.
We haven't really had the time to do like a mid-year check-in to sort of like feeling of like this sort of things. But Noah, they're up there. They're in there.
It's CMLL and Noah.
They're fighting. They're fighting.
And The Rock.
And The Rock.
I will not say WWE. It's just everything The Rock did.
Yeah. Hey, it's The Rock, baby.
And just for AEW, that's a weird one. But
AEW,
Noah?
Yeah. AEW is like top 5, I guess. But like,
you know what Noah's cooking? Everything with gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
That 13th, that's a big day.
Yeah.
July 13th, that is the Marigold Sumo Hall show and then the Nippon Budokan Noah show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good day to have Wrestling Universe.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, no. Isn't the Destination show? It's a pay-per-view on a Bima.
I was hoping that was just for Japan.
Yeah, I don't know because I know it's like different in other countries.
So they've done that for Noah before. I don't know. Wait,
but it's not Destination. I think it's Departure. Maybe.
Oh no, it's not on. It's not on the streaming. Oh yeah. I think you're right.
You have to get on a Bima, I believe.
I will get that show.
That's a must get.
Unlike the All-Togethers, I will get that show.
I'm going to go out of my way to find this one.
Yeah.
My match of the week, I watched the debut match of the gimmick of Mystico in 2004, 6/18/2004. It's available on CMLL's membership on YouTube. That one was Felino, Mystico, and Volador Jr. versus Averno, Mephisto, and Olympico. Olympico, referee nowadays. Averno, we saw him wrestle. Mephisto, I believe, is still wrestling, actually. Volador Jr., Masked, Mystico, debut, and Felino, of course. Averno and Mephisto and Olympico were great in this. The best 2 out of 3 falls, by the way. They were great in this. They were just kind of like hilarious assholes during this match that I enjoyed a lot. They just did a bunch of nonsense to do a cool little pose. I was like, yes, awesome. And Mystico was a very solid. Like the first thing Mystico does is when he's in the ring, he does the thing where he's like claps a little bit and points to the crowd. I was like, that's Mystico, baby. I know who that is a mile away. Very good debut of that gimmick for Mystico, of course. 2004. 6/18/2004. So other plugs. I recorded and I believe it will be out tomorrow. Will be the latest episode of The Ballot. This episode was recorded with Jared Luthi, longtime friend of the show, longtime friend of mine in terms of the wrestling space. Jared Luthi joins us on the show. When I told him about this, he picked out originally we were discussing the Hall of Fame Wrestling Observer newsletter, Hall of Fame candidacy and potentiality of Sami Zayn. It is a great show. I thought it was a really great episode. A lot of great conversations about the sort of obviously the fantastic work rate ability of Sami Zayn, but also a lot of the sort of underrated historical significance that Sami Zayn El Generico has in wrestling, both on sort of the indie scene and sort of just how baby faces work today. You know, we talked about earlier about how like Will Ospreay as a baby face shouldn't really do the Tiger Driver and on Swerve on next week, right? He should tease it, much like Sami Zayn teasing hitting Neville with that NXT title, but he shouldn't do it because in a lot of ways, Will Ospreay has some of that Sami Zayn babyface energy to him. And I think that's part of that, you know, legacy that he leaves behind is a great baby face, being able to show people how you be a baby face in 2024. But that and much more of that conversation exists on the Patreon, patreon.com/countoutpod. Patreon, again, patreon.com/countoutpod. On the $5 tier, $5 a month, you get that show and so much other shows on patreon.com/countoutpod. Of course, Scotty, you've done a show on the ballot talking about Cody Rhodes and his Hall of Fame candidacy. We've done shows with Gerard DiTrolio about Kento Miyahara, Suit Williams and the Usos, Ichiban Sweetcast host Curtis Spears talking about Zack Sabre Jr. We've done a lot of stuff on the ballot. We're also going to have a special bonus episode as well of the ballot come up ideally this upcoming week as well. So stay in tune for that. Other than that, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast feed, Ring Post Radio or Count Out Podcast Network. We have a lot of great shows. Ichiban Sweetcast, I mentioned before. As Scotty said, Stardom Roads coming out this week as well on Tuesday. A lot of great shows on the network. So always make sure to subscribe and check out all of our content here. I want to thank again all 500 plus subscribers on our YouTube channel, helping us cross that really important threshold. We really appreciate it. And I think that's all of our plugs. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Nicey. Follow Scotty at Scott E Wrestling. Follow the whole network at Count Out Pod on all the social medias, basically. And I guess with that, Scotty.
No! I have requested one. FMK makes its return after missing last week. I know the people were sad, upset even. Just don't worry. We're back. We're back, and I can tell you're excited.
I am.
FMK. Hechicero.
Yeah.
Templario.
Oh.
And Mystico.
Okay, well, of course, number one, we're going to kill Mystico. Oh, I did that for the reaction. I knew what Scotty's reaction was going to be from that. I am going to.
You're going to pay for what you said. That's what you're going to do, buddy. How dare you? How dare you?
I think I'm
some serious thought going into.
I think I'm fucking Mystico. You don't want to. Okay, so here's the thing. You don't want to marry Mystico because he wants to be the most important part of the relationship, and that's not good. He's always going to want to go over. So, like, I'll fuck him.
He don't want to. He always will go over.
Yeah, he always will go.
There's
over.
No want.
There's need, if anything. There's expectation, and there's, that's not necessarily good in a good relationship in a marriage. So I think I'm gonna at least fuck Mystico because you gotta keep him around. I'm definitely not killing Mystico. In that sense, then I'm going to marry Hechicero because he's going to make my life magical for the rest of my life for eternity. And keep things hot, And sadly, that does mean that Templario will be killed. But but I kill him, he will become a saint, I guess, as being a Templar.
Shout out Templario.
So
I almost did Soberano Jr. and I was like, wait a minute, that's too easy.
Well, that's actually, I think that's harder.
Oh, okay. Pivot. We're going with the original one. Mystico, Hechicero, and Soberano Jr. So some people call him the hottest man in professional wrestling.
Yeah, well, so the reason about Soberano Jr. is harder is because that hurts Mystico. Is because now I'm thinking about Soberano Jr. in the fuck category, right? It's Soberano. You're not going to marry Soberano Jr., right? You can't. He's one night stand material written all over him. So I think you got to fuck Soberano Jr. And then it's a question, am I marrying Hechicero or am I marrying Mystico? And the sad truth is, Scotty, I think I'm marrying Hechicero.
I don't want to hear it.
I think I'm marrying Hechicero. It's a tough one.
You just can't handle living with a legend.
Look, he's out of my league. Ultimately, Mystico is out of my league, right? I cannot corral that bull, if you know what I'm saying.
That's insane. All right, get the show on. End the show.
Shout out to Pride Month. All right.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. What an ending. Almost 3 hours. We will check you all next week for
we have
more.
Nothing next week. It won't be long. It's great.
Yeah, we got whatever else is Forbidden Door. We got Money in the Bank, and I think that might be it. I think that could possibly be it for next week, but not a lot next week. And then, of course, we'll have the Ring Post Radio episode next week, which will be fun and great. And then after Forbidden Doors show, we'll have the instant reaction as well, which will be on our podcast and YouTube platforms and all that sort of stuff. So a lot more audio coming next week. Forbidden Door, instant reaction, and the regular show in the morning. So until next week, we will catch you all later. Goodbye, everybody.